Chapter 400. After a round of lovemaking, two naked bodies were still entangled on the bed. Bei Xiaoman curled up in Ning Fan's embrace and carefully listened to his recount of his whereabouts during the past 2 months. On that day, Ning Fan only said that he had something important to deal with when he transmitted his voice using his flying sword. However, he did not give any details. When Bei Xiaoman heard that a void fragmentation realm expert of the Rain Palace was actually looking for Ning Fan, and the person who came looking for him was even the most ferocious expert of the Rain Palace, Yun Tianjue, Bei Xiaoman's face turned pale with fright. She finally understood why Ning Fan would leave for 2 months without saying goodbye. Now that the sword demon had come looking for him, he had no leeway to refuse. White-clothed sword god, Yun Tianjue. This person's temperament was cold and his strength was formidable. Even in the 4 heavens, he was considered an outstanding person. Even Bei Xiaoman was a little afraid of Yun Tianjue's fierce reputation. When she heard that Yun Tianjue actually brought Ning Fan to the dragon-deciding valley of Snow Country to collect his blood, Bei Xiaoman became even more nervous. She had heard of the blood dragon pool in the dragon-deciding valley and knew how dangerous it was. As soon as Bei Xiaoman heard that Ning Fan actually went to the blood dragon pool to fight and put himself in danger, she could no longer hold a grudge against him. Fortunately, you are fine. If Yun Tianjue dares to do anything to you, I will definitely beg my mother to avenge you. Bei Xiaoman's charming face was as cold as ice as she said. Her words warmed Ning Fan's heart. There was no need to avenge himself. During this trip, Ning Fan had indeed made a great enemy. However, his enemy was not Yun Tianjue but the entire Rain world. The Rain Emperor's identity was special. As the ruler of a realm, the cultivators of the higher realm definitely could not kill this person. Otherwise, they would be punished according to the laws of heaven. Ning Fan did not expect Bei Xiaoman to help him get rid of the Rain Sovereign. It was unrealistic. After today, Ning Fan stayed in Penglai Island for another month. Every day, he would enter the profound Yin world to brew a spirit-consolidating pill with clean water to help Luo Yu recover her primordial spirit. Every night, he would make love with Bei Xiaoman, and in the midst of their pleasure, he would gradually help Bei Xiaoman slay the Scarlet Dragon. This greatly surprised Bei Xiaoman. She could not understand what kind of ability Ning Fan possessed that could actually help her get rid of her Scarlet Dragon. If she did not ask, Ning Fan would not tell her either. When Ning Fan asked about Bei Yao, Bei Xiaoman's answer greatly surprised him. There was no one named Bei Yao in the Lost World Palace. Ning Fan thought about it carefully. This lady should be someone from the Lost World Palace without a doubt. Moreover, she was always thinking about Bei Xiaoman. Thus, there was no doubt about her identity as his elder sister. Perhaps he had given a fake name and didn't want others to know about it. As such, Ning Fan almost never mentioned Yuan Yao to prevent Bei Xiaoman from finding out about her. 1 month later, Bei Xiaoman's Crimson Dragon was completely gone. Her aptitude was not weak to begin with. Now that she had completely severed the Crimson Dragon, her cultivation could be said to have advanced by leaps and bounds. In the profound Yin world, Luo Yu's complexion improved by the day. Her soul had almost condensed to the point where it was no different from a corporeal body. After feeding her the last 15 spirit-consolidating pills, Ning Fan sat at the edge of the bed. He held her hand and channeled his magic power into it, helping her tidy up her primordial spirit. All 207 spirit-consolidating pills had been fed to him. Luo Yu's hands gradually warmed up. The aura of his primordial spirit grew stronger day by day, gradually recovering to the strength of a soul formation cultivator. Early soul formation, middle soul formation, late soul formation, peak soul formation. Early void refinement realm, mid void refinement realm, late void refinement realm, peak void refinement realm. Day after day, Luo Yu's aura rose steadily, but she still did not wake up. Ning Fan sighed inwardly. One of his hands grabbed Luo Yu's wrist and continuously channeled his magic power into her. His other hand was caressing her sleeping face, caressing the side of her smooth and cold face. On the last day, his aura rose once again, and he was no longer weaker than Yun Jinghong. The first level of the void fragmentation realm. Luo Yu had actually recovered her strength to the first layer of the void fragmentation realm by relying on the 207 spirit solidifying pills. A violent aura spread out from her body and swept across the entire profound Yin world. The entire world shook violently under his aura force. A wave of supreme aura force directly sent Ning Fan flying away. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with joy. To him, it was great news that Luo Yu could recover to the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. In that case, as long as Luo Yu is around, he would have the strength to protect himself even if he is being hunted down by a void fragmentation realm expert of the Rain Palace. He had always believed that Luo Yu was someone he could completely trust and entrust his life to. However, what disappointed him was that even though Luo Yu's primordial spirit had recovered to the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, she still showed no signs of waking up. That void fragmentation realm aura gradually disappeared without a trace. Luo Yu, on the other hand, regained her peaceful and beautiful expression. She slept like a princess who was isolated from the world. Ning Fan sighed. If Luo Yu does not wake up, she would not be able to protect him even if she has the strength of a first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. It's really a pity. However, there's nothing he can do about it. You still can't wake up, huh? Fortunately, your primordial spirit has already stabilized. Even if you can't wake up, you won't have to worry about your life anymore. Have a good rest. Little Yu Air, you don't have to worry with me around. Ning Fan caressed Luo Yu's cheek and shook his head with a smile. If Luo Yu wakes up and finds out that he had taken advantage of a beautiful woman, would she be angry? I'm sorry. He blamed himself and covered Luo Yu with a thin blanket again. Then he left the profound Yin world in a flash. However, Ning Fan did not know that after he left for a long time, Luo Yu's eyelashes trembled slightly and she slowly opened her eyes. Her fair and delicate cheeks were already burning with embarrassment. Stinky brat. How dare you even take advantage of your elder sister? You really have guts? In fact, she had already woken up. However, she did not want Ning Fan to know about it. Firstly, her primordial spirit was still injured and she could not leave the profound Yin world for too long. She still could not go to the outside world freely. Secondly, she was held in Ning Fan's arms. She was protected by Ning Fan and the side of her face was touched by him. Luo Yu was a woman after all. How could she wake up in front of Ning Fan? She did not want to feel awkward between them. In her heart, she had always regarded Ning Fan as a silly little brother. She did not expect that this silly little brother would actually take advantage of her like this. Really, the words echoed in her mind. All of them were what Ning Fan muttered to himself when she was unconscious. He hugged her tightly and chased her away from the cold. He comforted her with simple yet powerful words. Don't worry. This time, it's my turn to protect you. Luo Yu helplessly realized that she actually did not know how to face Ning Fan. This was probably the reason why she did not dare to open her eyes the most. You can't protect me. The enemies of the Luo clan are not people you can handle. Luo Yu's eyes dimmed. She covered her chest and got up slightly. Then she stared at the profound Yin world outside the window, feeling lonely and silent. She was not a woman with many words in the first place. The charm and maturity that she showed to Ning Fan was just a facade. No one could walk into her heart. No one. Ning Fan was unaware that Luo Yu had already woken up. He had wanted to wake Luo Yu up before entering the internal endless sea to ensure his safety. Now that Luo Yu had not woken up, he could not force her. He had to rely on himself for everything. It was time to go to the inner sea. He was going to leave again, and this time he did not know when he would return. Bei Xiaoman was reluctant to leave, but she did not urge him to stay. Because she was leaving too. The news of Ning Fan crippling Shimin Ye's divine clone had spread like wildfire in the upper world. Even though the Shimin family did not seek revenge in public, the Lost World Palace was quite dissatisfied with Ning Fan and Bei Xiaoman. Naturally, the great elder of the Lost World Palace was dissatisfied. However, even though he was dissatisfied, Grand Elder did not send anyone to deal with the lowly Zhou Ming. It should be said that with the Grand Elder's cultivation level, he wouldn't take a soul formation cultivator seriously at all. Even if Ningfan is at the void refinement realm, void fragmentation realm, life immortal realm, or crossing realm, the Great Elder would not spare a glance at him. Why would a powerhouse pay attention to an ant? However, Bei Xiaoman still had to return to the Lost World Palace to give the Great Elder an explanation. Even though she had lost her chastity, she did so willingly. Besides, since Ningfan was able to defeat Shimin Ye's divine clone, he would undoubtedly become a void fragmentation realm expert thousands of years later. This kind of talent was worthy of Bei Xiaoman. In any case, the Shimen family had taken the initiative to give up on the engagement. Whoever Bei Xiaoman liked, the Grand Elder could not say anything. At most, he could only give her a few words of reprimand. "Zhou Ming, I'll be returning to Northern Heaven soon. With my mother protecting me, even the Great Elder won't do anything to me. Don't worry about me. Also, if you want to ascend to the North Heaven in the future, come to Penglai to look for Lu Qing. He has a way to contact the higher domain. You can contact me, and I will try to help you ascend." It was rare for Bei Xiaoman to be gentle for once. However, when she saw Ningfan looking at her with a teasing smile, she immediately got angry. "Don't think that I'm helping you because I like you. You're just a human cauldron that I'm keeping. I don't want to see you die under the heavenly tribulation. That's all. Don't think too much." Bei Xiaoman said arrogantly. "I didn't think too much. I was just thinking that I might not be able to taste you for a very long time." "But, pervert." Bei Xiaoman's face turned red. The so-called parting had diluted her sadness in this noisy atmosphere. "Take good care of yourself." Ningfan lightly kissed Bei Xiaoman's forehead. With a smile, he turned into a wisp of smoke and flew towards the direction of the Pleasure Devil Sea. Looking at Ningfan's departing figure, Bei Xiaoman suddenly felt a lump in her throat. She turned around and clenched her fists tightly. "Stupid Zhou Ming, miss, don't be sad. With fellow Taoist Zhou's potential, ascension is just a matter of time." Stone Warrior comforted her. "I know, Grandpa Stone Warrior." Bei Xiaoman nodded her head. Suddenly she was stunned. She looked at Stone Warrior with embarrassment and anger. She raised her hand and whipped him. "Who's sad for him?" "Nonsense." The whip felt like it was tickling him. Stone Warrior did not avoid it. He knew that Bei Xiaoman was thin-skinned. Ningfan had not decided to ascend to the Northern Heaven even though he had obtained the quota from Bei Xiaoman. Early spirit-severing realm cultivators could ascend as long as they obtained the quota. Ningfan could choose to ascend at this moment. However, he still had too many unfinished business. He could not leave. The Pleasure Devil Immortal Island was adjacent to Gusu Island. The reason why Ningfan returned to the Pleasure Devil Sea was to bring Su Qiuling away from Gusu Island. There were not many people who could leave such a deep impression in his heart. Su Qiuling was one of them. He came to fulfill his promise to bring Su Qiuling to the Eternal Endless Sea. However, it seemed like he was a step too late. Old ancestor Dong Su had actually brought Su Qiuling to the giant devil clan of the Eternal Endless Sea. Su Qiuling had left a letter on Gusu Island. She said that Feng Shuiyan, the daughter of venerated giant, had encountered some problems with her illness. She wanted to go to the Eternal Endless Sea to see her. With her master, Dong Su, as her protector, it would not be a problem for her to go to the Eternal Endless Sea. However, it had only been a month since she left. It was a pity to miss her like this. Ningfan shook his head and did not sigh. He would naturally meet her again when he arrives at the giant devil clan of the Eternal Endless Sea. He was not in a hurry. The lifespan of cultivators was very long. It was destined that the separation and loneliness of cultivators would be longer than that of mortals. Ningfan still had some unfinished business on Gusu Island. Old ancestor Yulong was left behind in the Pleasure Devil Sea. He was originally an elder of the Pleasure Devil sect. Due to some reasons, he had to rely on the Lost World Palace. However, he was captured and brought back to the Pleasure Devil Sea in the end. During the time when Ningfan was away, Yulong collected many primordial spirit-nourishing spiritual medicines. Unfortunately, these spiritual medicines had little effect on Luo Yu, who had a void fragmentation realm cultivation base. Other than these, Yulong also collected many spiritual medicines that could heal the sea of consciousness. These could heal the female corpse's sea of consciousness. He left some pills and cultivation methods for Su Russian, Yulong and the others. He also left some benefits for Wang Si and Elder Qi who were on Gusu Island. Eventually, he returned to the Zhou mansion and met Bai Su again. Bai Su had already changed out of her mourning clothes. She was openly staying in Ning Fan's mansion and was even wearing mourning clothes. It would only attract more gossip. Su Qiuling had taught Bai Su many cultivation methods and helped her improve her cultivation base to the 10th level of the vein opening realm. Gusu was no longer a country of mortals. If they want to survive in the endless sea, they had to cultivate. Bai Su's innate talent was above average. In addition to the guidance and gifts given by Ning Fan, Su Qiuling and Dong Su, her starting point was definitely higher than most cultivators. After cultivating, Bai Su's appearance seemed to have become 1 or 2 years younger. Her mature beauty revealed a myriad of amorous feelings. She did not lose to the fairies in the cultivation world. When Bai Su saw Ning Fan's return, she was neither happy nor sad. She just went into the kitchen to prepare some dishes and wine to entertain Ning Fan. The moonlight shrouded Gusu. In the Zhou mansion, there were only 2 people sitting alone and drinking with each other. Little Stone was no longer in Gusu. He left a letter and went to one of the mortal countries among the 800 cultivation countries to cultivate under the escort of Wang Si and the others. He wholeheartedly cultivated the sword. This young man was a good seedling for sword cultivation. He was a good seedling that only appeared once in 1,000 years in the rain world. 1,000 years ago, a genius sword cultivator appeared out of nowhere in the rain world. His name was Yun Tianjue. 1,000 years later, no one knew if Little Stone would also become famous in the rain world. That young man had an extraordinary persistence towards the sword. He was a natural-born sword cultivator. Ning Fan's request for him was to become the #1 swordsman in the mortal world before starting his cultivation. On the surface, it might seem that he would miss the best opportunity to open his meridians, but in reality he was laying the most solid foundation for the way of the sword. Perhaps Little Shidu's cultivation speed wouldn't be as fast as other cultivators in the future, but every time he entered a new realm, he would be invincible within the same realm with the sword in his hand. With this aura, he would definitely become a peerless sword cultivator in the future. After Little Shirtu left, Bai Su missed him dearly, but she didn't stop her son's determination to pursue swordsmanship. What made Bai Su speechless the most was that the mischievous Little Stone had purposely left a letter for him. Bai Su secretly read the contents. In the letter, Little Shirtu only asked for one thing from Uncle Zhou: help him and his father take care of his mother. Rascal, Bai Su was speechless. He was speechless. However, in the end she still followed Little Stone's suggestion and gave the letter to Ning Fan. As soon as Ning Fan read the letter, his expression immediately turned strange. Bai Su, on the other hand, immediately explained in a fluster. Little Shirtu is still young and babbles nonsense. Young Master Zhou, please don't take it to heart. No. Little Shirtu is right. He wholeheartedly cultivates the sword. Perhaps he won't return to Gusu in this lifetime. If he entrusted you to me, he won't have to worry. Young master, please conduct yourself with dignity. I didn't agree to it. Bai Su softly pouted. However, her eyes were a little flustered. Does that so? Then, drink with me. Ning Fan did not force her. Not all women had to be subdued by sleeping with him. For a woman like Bai Su, being able to prepare good food and wine for Ning Fan and accompany him to drink under the moon was already a pleasure in the world. There were some things that didn't need to be pointed out or forced. At least, Ning Fan knew that other than him, Bai Su would never pour wine for another man in her life. That was enough for her. Bai Su did not reject him. She just drank the wine cup after cup. In the end, she couldn't handle the alcohol anymore. Her delicate body shook and she fell on Ning Fan's shoulder, falling into a deep sleep. Ning Fan didn't wake her up, nor did he violate her. He just let her lean on his shoulder and drink alone. As he drank and pecked, his heart was gradually stirred. Cultivators spend their entire lives wandering around. It's rare for anyone to show concern for their well-being. Gusu wine is the best wine I've ever tasted. He gradually understood the true meaning of women and wine. It was the sustenance of the soul. Ning Fan stretched out his arm and held by Su's shoulder. The latter's delicate body visibly trembled as if she had woken up from her drunken state. However, she did not struggle free. Do you want to stay in Gusu or come with me? It's fine for me to stay in Gusu. After all, I don't like killing in the cultivation world. Staying here can also allow me to cultivate in peace and prepare food and wine for young master. When young master has swept away all the grudges or is mentally exhausted, you can return to Gusu. I will certainly prepare food and wine to welcome young master. That's good too. Ning Fan raised his head and looked at the moon without saying anything else. If there comes a day when he could cast aside all the grudges and live a peaceful life, he would certainly return to Gusu. Although there was still a long time before that day. Take this red chamber Ganoderma. If you don't cultivate diligently and your lifespan is not long enough, you won't be able to see my return. I'm afraid there are still thousands of years or even tens of thousands of years left. If I return only to see your short grave, I will be sad. I will strive to break through to the nascent soul realm and live for 3,000 years. Bai Su smiled gently. I'll only wait for you for 3,000 years. Don't die and let me wait for nothing. His fate in the mortal world of Gusu ended just like that. Ning Fan was even more convinced that he must not die. He had too many people who needed protection. He must not let the Rain Palace know the whereabouts of the sovereign Qi. As long as he did not fall out with the Rain Palace, he could use his identity as a revered elder Jin Ling to make all the forces that were related to him not dare to provoke him. He left Gusu while Bai Su and the moon sent him off. He left on the moon and arrived at the Green Jade Immortal Island at dawn. When Ning Fan arrived at the Green Jade Immortal Island, the grand formation of the sect suddenly trembled. All the female cultivators were shocked. Each of the female cultivators stood in formation. When they saw that it was Ning Fan, they immediately put down the magic treasures in their hands. None of them dared to attack Ning Fan. Feng Yu, welcome revered Ming. Elder Feng's face was filled with fear and disappointment. She had already followed Ning Fan's order and handed over the inheritance of her cultivation base, causing her cultivation base to fall to the early nascent soul realm. Her cultivation base had already been inherited by Su Yao. After refining the power of her inheritance, Su Yao's cultivation base was already at the late nascent soul realm. In time, she would become a half-step divine transformation realm expert after refining all the power of the inheritance. It was just a matter of time for her to break through to the divine transformation realm. Zhou Ming, you're here? Su Qiu and Su Yao greeted him with a smile. However, there was still a hint of sadness hidden on Su Qiu's smile. That sadness did not escape Ning Fan's observation. He naturally knew what Su Qiu was sad about. It was most likely that the Purple Mansion Academy had already found her and she could not make a decision regarding her ascension. She knew that Ning Fan hated the righteous path. She did not want Ning Fan to hate her. Don't hesitate. I will support you. Ning Fan just smiled. His indifferent tone made Su Qiu's face filled with surprise. Why, you already know about it? I know. This divine transformation realm Dao fruit is for you. You can attain the divine transformation realm and ascend as soon as possible. Rumor has it that there are 2 great immortal emperors in the Purple Mansion Academy. One of them is in charge of tribulation while the other is in charge of punishment. If the devil cultivators of the 4 heavens commit heinous crimes, they will be punished by the immortal emperor in charge of punishment. If you join the Purple Mansion Academy, if I commit any crimes in the future, I will look for you. You will most likely be able to clear my name. Pa! Su Qiu scolded him in annoyance. He came all the way here just to go through the back door with me? If Su Qiu can protect Ning Fan, she would certainly be willing to do so. She was familiar with Ning Fan and knew how much trouble he could cause and how he dared to kill anyone. When she thought about it, Su Qiu suddenly felt that there was no need to hesitate anymore about ascending to the Purple Mansion Academy. It would also be a good idea to clean up Ning Fan's mess in the future. At least I can help him, right? However, when Ning Fan took the initiative to say it, the meaning changed completely. This Dao fruit is for you. After consuming it, it won't take too long for you to break through to the divine transformation realm. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a golden Dao fruit. All of a sudden, countless female cultivators were stunned. Even Su Qiu and Su Yao, who had experienced many trials and tribulations, were caught unprepared. Divine Transformation Realm Dao Fruit. With the production rate of the Dao Fruit, killing 100 Divine Transformation Realm cultivators would only produce 1 Dao Fruit. What did Ning Fan do? He actually has a Divine Transformation Realm Dao Fruit? It's too scary. Could it be that he killed 100 Divine Transformation Realm old monsters? I don't want it. Your enemies are so strong. You need strength. You can just consume the Dao Fruit. Su Qiu's eyes were burning with passion, but she bit her lips and refused. Take it. Don't reject it. Also, I want you to blow the flute. Ning Fan's gaze swept across the area. The other unrelated female cultivators trembled and bowed to him. They understood that Ning Fan wanted to be alone with the two ladies. He did not want anyone to disturb him. Blow the flute? Su Yao blushed and looked at Su Qiu with a strange gaze. Obviously, she had misunderstood. It's not the flute you're thinking of. Su Qiu refuted and took out a flute from her storage pouch. Obviously, Su Qiu had been led astray by Su Yao. In the past, Su Qiu did not understand the second meaning of blowing the flute at all. Now she understood it. Su Yao is right. Are you willing? Ning Fan revealed a teasing smile. As soon as she heard his words, Su Qiu's face turned red. She covered her red lips and her eyes were filled with panic. It can't be. He wants me to blow the flute for him. As the vice sect master of the Bai Yao Immortal Sect and the future goddess of the Purple Mansion Academy, Su Qiu was at a loss. Sister, are you really not willing? Su Yao smiled faintly. She felt that it was interesting. Su Qiu, who had always been calm and collected, actually showed the shyness of a little girl. If she's not willing, you can do it for her. Remember that Miss Su Yao is still my human cauldron, right? What? You want me to blow the flute for you on behalf of Sister Su Qiu? As the true sect master of the Bai Yao Immortal Sect, Su Yao was also confused. So, Ning Fan came to the Bai Yao Immortal Sect early in the morning just to have sex in broad daylight? I'm just joking. Ning Fan waved his hand, indicating that he was just joking. I'm willing. Su Qiu's beautiful eyes became firm. She could faintly tell that Ning Fan was going to travel far away. That was why he came to meet her. Ning Fan was going to travel far away while she was also going to ascend. Would they still be able to meet in the future? Even though Ning Fan's request was abrupt, if they were to part ways today, it would be a matter of life and death in the future. If so, Su Qiu would regret it for the rest of her life. Go to my room. There are too many people here. Su Qiu mustered up her courage and held Ning Fan's arm again, leading him to her chamber. Su Yao was stunned. Thinking about what might happen next, she immediately felt embarrassed and didn't dare to follow. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, a woman's groan could be heard from Su Qiu's chamber. Behind the incense curtain, Su Qiu was kneeling on the couch. She bent over and stroked the hair on her temples. She sucked on a fiery strand tightly with her fragrant lips, and her little tongue was gently licking it. Her technique was too rusty, but the tip of her tongue was naturally nimble, almost not inferior to Nailan Zi's tongue technique. She was the golden core ancestral patriarch of the Yu country, the nascent soul sect master of the Bai Yao sect, and the future soul formation goddess of the Zifu Academy. In the future, she would definitely have even more respected statuses, and countless men would look up to her. Today, however, she was willing to kneel in front of Ning Fan. Her purest cherry lips were offered to him. Feeling Su Qiu's tight lips, Ning Fan almost lost his desire. He lovingly stroked Su Qiu's black hair, her face, her neck and her breasts. Su Qiu trembled slightly. Her face and ears turned red, but she did not reject him. She just closed her eyes shyly and did not dare to look at him anymore. Is it comfortable? Su Qiu's hair was messy and her eyes seemed to be dripping with tears. Try it and you will know. Ning Fan simply lay flat on his back and carried In Suchio's delicate body. He turned her upside down and pulled down her skirt. He separated her pink and jade-like legs and licked the pink slit that was blurred by her juices with the tip of his tongue. Ah! In Suchio was caught off guard. Her lower body was being violated like that. It was the first time she was so stimulated that her entire body trembled. Dirty. Shoo, lower your voice. It's not appropriate for outsiders to know about the matters in the chamber. The walls might be eavesdropping. Ning Fan's eyes gradually became fiery and he began to suck greedily. Because of the matter of ascension, In Suchio's body could not be broken for the time being. Thus, he could only comfort her a little like this. To be honest, Ning Fan's original intention of coming to the Bai Yao sect was to listen to the flute. Unfortunately, In Suchio's devoted look was just too irritating. Ning Fan was not a saint. He had never been one. After he and In Suchio deliberately lowered their voices, no one knew what happened in the chamber after that. Chapter 401. The Endless Sea was also known as the Grave of Cultivators. There were 3,000 islands in the Outer Sea and 100,000 in the Internal Sea. The Internal Sea was countless times more dangerous than the Outer Sea. The fortuitous encounters in the Internal Sea were also countless times more dangerous than the Outer Sea. At the border between the Internal Sea and the Outer Sea, the seawater changed from a strange azure color to a pitch-black color. Under the dark and gloomy seawater, there was no telling when a rare treasure would be born. On a sea near the border, there was an uninhabited island. There was nothing special about this island, but today, there were 13 nascent soul realm old monsters gathered on this island. The island was only a few miles in circumference, and there was a hidden grand formation on it. Among the 13 nascent soul realm old monsters, the strongest was only at the late nascent soul realm. Each of them injected their magic power into the formation light, and their eyes were filled with excitement and nervousness. Fellow Daoist Song, is there really a divine transformation realm old monster's hidden abode here? I still can't believe it. A skinny young man asked. Fellow Daoist Lu, now that you've seen the hidden formation light, do you still doubt my words? Another old man snorted unhappily. He was a late nascent soul realm old monster and was the strongest among them. Seeing that he was displeased, the skinny young man smiled awkwardly. No one said anything else. Everyone's thoughts were on activating the grand formation. As the 13 nascent soul realm old monsters injected their magic power into the formation light, the formation light that had lasted for thousands of years finally ran out of immortal jades. It gradually dimmed and finally broke. The moment the formation light shattered, a hole appeared in the center of the originally empty island. Impressively, there was a cave abode hidden there. A divine transformation realm old monster's abode. The 13 people's eyes were filled with excitement. If they could obtain some treasures, pills, or cultivation techniques, they might even have a chance to reach the divine transformation realm in their lifetime. The 13 streaks of light rushed into the cave. The cave was not big and it was empty. There were only 5 quiet rooms, and each room had some treasures placed inside. This is a high-grade 4th Revolution pill, Earth Origin pill. There are actually 20 of them. A low-grade divine transformation realm cultivation technique, Heavenly Fire 3 Profound Art. This cultivation technique is mine. Incomplete Profound Heavenly Treasure. There are actually 3 incomplete profound heavenly treasures here. These are nascent soul realm puppets. The senior who built this abode was really generous. He actually captured a nascent soul realm old monster and refined a puppet. The 4 quiet rooms all had precious treasures. The 13 nascent soul cultivators each obtained something, but they didn't fight with each other. There were too many monks and not enough gruel. It was impossible for them not to fight. They would definitely fight to the death for the treasures. But that was for the future. There was still the 5th meditation room that they hadn't entered. No matter what, they had to find all the treasures and fight to the death. Bang! The stone door of the 5th room was especially sturdy. The 13 of them expended a great deal of effort to open a small gap in the stone door. A faint aura of death seeped out from the crack. That aura of death was something that only a spirit-severing old monster would leave behind when he passed away. This fifth stone room was the place where the previous owner of the cave had passed away. There might even be a storage bag left behind by that senior. The best treasures were definitely here. Everyone's eyes were filled with excitement and nervousness. They used all their strength to open the stone door. The stone room was rather simple and crude. A withered cultivator sat on a praying mat. He had been dead for countless years. There was an old storage bag tied to his waist. As soon as the 13 nascent soul eccentrics saw the bag of holding, their eyes filled with greed, and they almost wanted to fight over it. But before they could do anything, the 13 of them shifted their gazes to the side. All of them were terrified and stunned. Beside the withered skeleton, there was a white-robed young man. He didn't reveal any aura, as if he didn't exist in this world. Strange. It was too strange. Why would there be a white-robed young man in this stone room? That person just stood there without turning his head. The 13 old monsters felt their nascent souls were about to be crushed and their hearts were trembling with fear. What kind of cultivation level was that? What kind of expert could crush someone's nascent soul just by looking at their back? There are juniors here? Wail Yang, you heir, chase them away. Yes. Following the white-robed young man's order, 2 ladies appeared out of nowhere. One of them had pure eyes and looked like a fairy. Although the other was a little girl, she had red lips and white teeth. She was very cute. As soon as the 2 ladies appeared, they emitted the aura of a spirit-severing cultivator. With a wave of their hands, a strong wind rose in the stone room and carried the 13 old monsters out of the island. Fear and confusion. The 13 of them were all nascent soul realm old monsters. How could they not see that the cultivation level of the man and the 2 ladies was far above the nascent soul realm? All 3 of them were spirit-severing realm old monsters. Before we entered this cave dwelling, there were 3 spirit-severing realm experts who entered before us. Retreat! Retreat now! The 13 of them no longer had the intention to fight for the treasures. At this moment, they only had one thought in their minds: run. In their entire lives, they had never seen such an expert who could crush someone's nascent soul with just his back. A well-planned treasure hunt in the ruins had ended up with a blunder. Among them, many of them felt that the back of that person was somewhat familiar. When they thought about it carefully, they felt that the person was somewhat similar to the person who was being hunted by the Rain Palace. However, this was none of their business. In the stone room, the white-robed young man's eyes were focused on the ancient pill recipe in his hands. He did not care about the storage pouch of the withered skeleton cultivator at all. As for the 13 nascent soul realm old monsters, they did not arouse his interest at all. He was pale and skinny. However, when he stood there, he gave off an imposing aura without being angry. This person was none other than Ning Fan, who had just entered the internal endless sea. The karma of the external endless sea had been settled. It had been 3 days since he entered the internal endless sea. When he passed by this isolated island, his eyes flashed. He discovered that there were ruins hidden in this place. It was the cave dwelling of an early spirit-severing realm junior. An early spirit-severing realm junior was not enough to arouse his interest. However, when he scanned the place with his spirit sense, he discovered that there were a few pill recipes in this place. The treasures in the 5 stone rooms and the pitifully poor storage pouch of the spirit-severing realm cultivator could not arouse his interest at all. He did not know where this cultivator got his hands on some ancient pill recipes. Most of them were 3rd revolution pills and a few of them were 4th revolution pills. Apart from that, there were also 3 5th revolution pill recipes. Only these 3 5th revolution pill recipes could move Ning Fan's interest a little. One of the pill recipes recorded in it was called Consciousness Repairing Pill. It was a low-grade 5th revolution pill that could heal the injuries of a cultivator's sea of consciousness. Ning Fan also knew a few pill recipes that could heal one's sea of consciousness. The grade of the 4th revolution pill was slightly lower, while the 5th revolution pill recipes lacked a few main ingredients. Those main ingredients had already gone extinct in the cultivation world. The effect of this consciousness-repairing pill was not as good as the few pills that Ning Fan knew. However, the main ingredients were easy to find. After obtaining this pill recipe by chance, Ning Fan could search for some spiritual herbs to continue healing the female corpse's sea of consciousness. Little Yu Er's primordial spirit has already stabilized. Even if she doesn't wake up, it won't be a big problem. Wei Yang's sea of consciousness is still recovering. I can concoct some pills to help her heal her sea of consciousness. Ning Fan kept the pill recipe and looked at the storage pouch on the skeleton's waist. He shook his head and took away all of his belongings. Even though this person was a little poor, it was shameful to be wasteful. Little Cucumber, I have already chased him away. How are you going to thank me? Guang is gone. Not long after, the female corpse and Yu Lingkong returned to the stone room. The female corpse's face was still expressionless while Yu Lingkong was rather impatient. Both of their injuries had already healed. Since they had entered the internal endless sea, they could bring them along with them. Yu Lingkong's cultivation base was still at the late divine transformation realm. Perhaps she could return to the divine space island and reverse engineer her second primordial spirit to recover her original cultivation base. As for the female corpse, her spiritual intelligence seemed to have become slightly higher than before. Her cultivation base was also close to breaking through to the late divine transformation realm. If the key to Luo Yu's recovery was to heal her primordial spirit, the key to the female corpse's recovery would probably be to heal her sea of consciousness. There's no need for us to thank each other. Ning Fan caressed the female corpse's small face that did not have any body temperature. Then he looked at Yu Lingkong and teased her. I just slept with you once. We don't have such a deep relationship. You should thank me when you need to. Hurry up and help me fight my way back to the divine space island. Then, fix my second primordial spirit until it is beyond recognition. I can't wait any longer. All right. Ning Fan agreed without any hesitation. Yu Lingkong was stunned. She did not know since when did Ning Fan become so easy to talk to. Give me the map of the internal endless sea. I will bring you back to the divine space island. The map of the internal endless sea? I can give it to you. However, are you going to go to the divine space island by yourself? Yu Lingkong asked with a strange expression. What else can I do? The divine space island is deep in the northern sea of the internal endless sea. It is at least 7 billion li away from here. With your speed, even if you fly without resting or sleeping, it will still take you more than a few months to get there. However, I have a way to let you reach the divine space island within a month. Moon portals. All the subordinate forces of my divine space island have built moon portals. In the past, when I travel, I can use the moon portals to directly move to the next island. There is no need for me to travel by myself at all. A moon portal can travel around 300 million li. In that case, are we going to the subordinate forces of the divine space island next? Even though Ning Fan had never seen a moon portal before, it sounded very similar to a teleportation formation. If he doesn't use such a convenient item, he would be a fool. It has been more than 20 years since the tribulation of the divine space island. I'm afraid most of the forces that relied on me in the past have already been divided by others. However, the moon portals should still be there. Other than me, no one can pass through them and no one can destroy them. Yu Lingkong nodded her head. Her expression was a little sad. However, she quickly hid it as she did not want Ning Fan to see it. Then she took out a jade slip and pressed it against her glabella. She closed her eyes and imprinted the memory of the map of the endless sea into the jade slip. Then she passed it to Ning Fan. 2 hours later, Ning Fan had memorized all the maps of the endless sea. He carried the two ladies and flew away. Looking at the familiar internal sea, Yu Lingkong knitted her brows. The past was still vivid in her mind. In the past, she was still the supreme being of the internal sea and a female tyrant. Now, however, she was only left with the body of a little girl. She could not help but feel a little disappointed. Of course, her expression could not hide from Ning Fan. He remained silent, but he was determined to help Yu Lingkong take back the divine space island. The female corpse blinked her bright eyes. Her expression, however, was a little empty and quiet. There was neither joy nor sorrow on her face. Her expression was a little pitiful. Ning Fan had already made up his mind. Since they were going to travel using the moon portals along the way, he might as well purchase some spiritual herbs every time they arrive at a place to concoct the consciousness-repairing pill. The nearest subordinate force of the Divine Space Island was called Tianqi Island. It was a medium-sized island in the internal sea. The island lord was an early divine transformation realm cultivator who used to rely on the Divine Space Island. Everything was in the past. More than 20 years ago, the Divine Space Island underwent a drastic change. From then on, the island was sealed. Even the fate of the Lord of the Divine Space Island was unknown. The Divine Space Island, which was once the strongest of the 7 venerated beings of the internal sea, declined from then on. All of the forces under the Divine Space Island were either forced to leave or their hearts were divided. Little Cucumber, have you been betrayed before? This place used to be my Yulinkong's territory. Outside the Tianqi Island, Ning Fan halted his movement light. He felt that the closer he got to the island, the more chaotic Yulinkong's emotions became. Her tone was a little sad. No matter how carefree she was usually and how manly she was, the feeling of being betrayed still did not feel good. She had clearly broken through to the void refinement realm, but her second primordial spirit took everything away and she was betrayed by her 7 disciples. If it was the Yulinkong in the past, she would only kill the traitors coldly without feeling sad. However, after staying by Ning Fan's side for a long time, her heart also softened. If you don't betray me, I won't betray you either. Ning Fan's expression remained unchanged as he said indifferently. It was just a plain sentence, but it made Yulinkong feel a little better. Alright, remember what you said. If you betray me one day, I will never forgive you. Let's enter the island. Yulinkong's fragile state was comforted by Ning Fan's words. Her heart returned to the domineering attitude of a female tyrant in the past. Tianqi Island seemed to be sealed. The formation light was activated and no one was allowed to enter. However, Yulinkong just smiled coldly and ignored the formation light. She clenched her fist and threw a punch at the grand formation. At the next moment, the formation light was shattered and everyone on the island was shocked. Who are you? The Lord of Tianqi Island is discussing an important matter with the elders of the main clan. The entire island is sealed. No cultivators are allowed to enter. The cultivators of Tianqi Island flew into the sky one after another. Their eyes were filled with vigilance and fear. The Tianqi Grand Formation was a low-grade Divine Transformation Realm Grand Formation. Unless it was a Divine Transformation Realm Old Monster, no one could destroy it with a single punch. They were afraid of Yulinkong, but that was all they could do. Tianqi Island was supported by a certain large clan. Even if it was a Divine Transformation Realm Old Monster, he would not be able to bear the consequences if he comes to Tianqi Island and causes trouble. Get lost. How dare you stop me? Yulinkong shouted. Suddenly, thousands of rays of moonlight appeared in the clear sky. As soon as the moonlight dispersed, each of the Gold Core Realm and Nascent Soul Realm cultivators coughed out blood and fell from the sky as if they had suffered a heavy blow. As soon as this technique was activated, the expressions of countless cultivators changed greatly. All of them recognized this technique. In the Golden Palace at the center of the island, the terrified voice of an old man carrying an early Divine Transformation Realm aura force spread out. Moon Scattering Technique. You are a member of the Divine Space Island. Venerated Moon. An old man in brocade robes flew out of the Golden Palace with a panicked expression. He flew into the sky and looked at Yulinkong with fear. The Divine Space Island was too powerful. He, the old man of Tianqi Island, had once attached himself to the Divine Space Island. Thus, he knew how terrifying the Divine Space Island was. There was no doubt about it. This moon scattering technique could only be used by a small number of Divine Transformation Realm cultivators of the Divine Space Island. Besides, Yulinkong was the only one who could display this technique to such an extent. The old man realized that the petite little girl in front of him was probably the rumored master of the Divine Space Island. Even though he had attached himself to the Divine Space Island in the past, he had never seen Yu Lingkong's face. This time, it was his first time seeing her. His spirit sense scanned the area behind Yu Lingkong, Ning Fan, and the female corpse. With his cultivation base, he could not sense Ning Fan's chi at all. He only felt that this person's face was a little familiar, but he did not treat him as a divine transformation realm cultivator. He also could not see through Yu Lingkong's exact cultivation base. He only knew that she was still at the half-step void refinement realm. Thus, he was naturally afraid of her. As for the female corpse, fear rose in the old man's heart again. It was because he discovered that the female corpse was a mid-divine transformation realm corpse devil. The old man in brocade robes was filled with fear. He did not know why venerated Moon, who had been missing for many years, would bring a mid-divine transformation realm corpse devil to Tianqi Island. Could it be that she came to blame him for leaving the Divine Space Island? Beside him, a peak divine transformation realm old man in black robes could see through Yu Lingkong's cultivation base with just a single glance. "You are Yu Lingkong? Who are you?" Yu Lingkong knitted her brows. She had roamed the internal sea for many years. Who would dare to call her name directly? "I'm one of the 6 elders of the Six-Winged Clan, Elder Hei. Yu Lingkong, my Six-Winged Clan doesn't care whether you live or die. However, this Tianqi Island is already a force of my Six-Winged Clan. If you dare to cause trouble here again, don't blame me for being ruthless and killing you. The current you is only at the late divine transformation realm. You are not my match." Hiss! Countless cultivators of Tianqi Island gasped. When they heard that Yu Lingkong was still alive, they were already shocked. When they heard that her cultivation base had fallen to the late divine transformation realm, they were even more shocked. A slightly surprised expression also appeared on Yu Lingkong's face. It was rare for her to be surprised. However, the identity of the black-robed old man had obviously made her fearful. "Get lost." The black-robed old man took a step forward. His aura force was like a mountain, forcing Yu Lingkong to retreat a few steps before she could stabilize her petite body. Blood trickled down from the corner of her mouth. She was slightly injured. With Yu Lingkong's late divine transformation realm cultivation base, she was slightly stronger than an ordinary peak divine transformation realm cultivator when she exerted her full strength. However, her aura force was slightly weaker than the black-robed old man's. This undoubtedly showed that the black-robed old man's strength was astonishing. The word, "get lost," was filled with humiliation and disdain. This black-robed old man did not put the Divine Space Island in his eyes at all, let alone Yu Lingkong, who was at the late divine transformation realm. Naturally, it was impossible for him to put a mid-divine transformation realm female corpse in his eyes. As for Ning Fan, no one could tell how strong he was at all. Seeing the black-robed old man forcing Yu Lingkong to retreat with a single step, the old man of Tianqi Island who was afraid of Yu Lingkong immediately felt relieved. In the past, venerated Moon was extremely strong. There was no place for a peak divine transformation realm cultivator to stand beside her. But today, she is so weak. It seems like something big has really happened to the Divine Space Island. It seems like it was a wise decision for me to side with the Six-Winged Clan. I don't have to worry about the Divine Space Island coming after me at all. Old man Tianqi felt relieved. His fear towards the Divine Space Island completely vanished. However, at the next moment, a shocking scene that he did not expect appeared. Ning Fan, who no one was paying attention to, suddenly took a gentle step forward and shielded Yu Lingkong behind him. He grabbed with his large hand. An unimaginable tearing force easily tore apart all of the black-robed old man's aura force. Pooed at the black-robed old man coughed out blood nonstop. His body was nearly torn apart by that claw force. His face was filled with astonishment. The Ning Fan in front of him was so strong that he instinctively feared him. "Who are you?" "I am the 6th elder of the Six-Winged Clan. How dare you touch me?" "The Six-Winged Clan? I've never heard of you before." Ning Fan's face was expressionless. He took a step forward and approached the old man at an unbelievable speed. Then he grabbed the old man's neck and lifted him up. "How dare you hurt my woman?" Zhou Ming. The two cold words immediately turned into an unimaginable storm that spread across Tianqi. Zhou Ming. These two words were the devil barrier of the endless sea. Even though not many people in the internal sea could recognize Ning Fan's appearance, no one doubted the authenticity of his words at this moment. This person must be Zhou Ming. Other than Zhou Ming, who else could have the strength to kill Elder He instantly? Zhou Ming. Stop. Don't kill a member of the Six-Winged Clan. Just as Ning Fan was about to kill He, Yu Ling Kong bit her lips and advised him reluctantly. She was the most prideful person in the internal sea. She wanted to kill He the most. However, she knew how strong the Six-Winged Clan was. She did not want Ning Fan to provoke a powerful enemy. Forget it. There is an early void refinement realm expert in the Six-Winged Clan. Although she sounded reluctant, she had no choice but to let it go. Even Yu Ling Kong was not willing to provoke some forces in the internal sea. The four clans of the Hidden Ocean, the former master of the Endless Sea, was suppressed by Thunder Sovereign Bu Zhou alone. Is that so? You should have told me earlier. Ning Fan shook his head. He really had never heard of the Six-Winged Clan before. However, now that he had injured Blackwing, it was certain that he had offended him. Killing Blackwing was an offense, but not killing Blackwing was still an offense. In this case, he would kill He in the most brutal way possible so that the Six-Winged Clan would not dare to offend him. He, of course, did not know what Ning Fan was thinking. However, when he saw that Ning Fan did not dare to act recklessly after hearing the reputation of the Six-Winged Clan, he thought that Ning Fan was afraid of the Six-Winged Clan and did not dare to hurt him. Unknowingly, his hatred returned a little. Zhou Ming. Even if you're a revered elder of the Rain Palace, even if you're the 8th venerable of the internal Endless Sea, you should know that there are still people that you can't afford to offend under the dark side of the internal Endless Sea. The great elder of the Six-Winged Clan is an early void refinement realm expert. Killing you is like killing an ant. Is that so? Ning Fan remained unmoved, but his eyes flashed with a cold light. Some people were like this. If you put up with them, they would think that you were weak and easy to bully. As for Ning Fan, he was never a person who could endure. Appear. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch. At the next moment, he summoned 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets. Six-Winged Clan? There's a Void Refinement Realm being guarding this place? Killing He will offend the Six-Winged Clan? If the Six-Winged Clan finds out that Elder He of their clan has offended someone who has 3 Void Refinement Realm puppets, would they still dare to take revenge on Ning Fan? Not only will they not dare to take revenge, but they will also beg for forgiveness. Ning Fan did not plan to show his trump card to others so soon. However, if the Six-Winged Clan thinks that he is weak and easy to bully just because he pretended to be a pig to eat the tiger, it would be a huge loss for him. Pretending to be a tiger is like killing a pig. It's impossible. You have 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets. This is absolutely impossible. Heyi's face became distorted due to excessive fear. Ning Fan no longer paid attention to Heyi's words. He clenched his 5 fingers and crushed Heyi's physical body, leaving only his black primordial spirit. After sealing it, he kept it in his storage pouch. Enter the island, Ning Fan said coldly. However, his words were mixed with an unimaginable baleful qi, making all the cultivators on the island feel bone-chilling cold. No one dared to stop him. Meanwhile, a shocking news would spread throughout the internal sea at a terrifying speed. Revered Ming, Zhou Ming, had entered the internal sea with 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets. It was unstoppable. Half a day later, in the Six-Winged Clan that was 1 million zhang below the Hidden Ocean, which was the size of China, an old man who was on his deathbed was holding the information about Heyi's death. His face was filled with rage. He was not angry at Ning Fan. He was angry because Heyi had actually provoked a malignant star. If Ning Fan did not have the 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets, the old man would not mind using his Void Refinement Realm cultivation base to eliminate Ning Fan. Even if Ning Fan was a revered elder of the Rain Palace, he would not be afraid of him. However, Ning Fan's trump card made the old man fearful. Great Elder. This Zhou Ming has 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets. In the internal sea, other than the Zhou clan, no one can suppress him. How hateful it is that Hei Yi actually provoked such a malignant star for our clan. Great Elder, please make a decision quickly and apologize to revered Ming. They had no choice but to apologize. Ning Fan had 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets, and he possessed the strength to single-handedly eliminate the entire 6-winged clan. How could they offend such a malignant star? Chapter 402. Venerable Moon returned, and Venerable Ming entered the internal endless sea. The power of the 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets formed a hurricane that swept across the endless sea. All of a sudden, Ning Fan had almost become the most untouchable person in the endless sea. Among the 8 venerated beings of the internal sea, Ning Fan's reputation was almost unparalleled. On Tianqi Island, Old Man Tianqi's expression was filled with lingering fear. Right before his eyes, Hei Yi, who was a dignified peak divine transformation realm expert, did not even have the ability to resist and was crushed to death by Ning Fan with a single palm strike. When he recalled the cold and empty eyes of the 3 spiritual puppets, he could not imagine why Ning Fan would have 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets. Ning Fan had forcefully planted a demon seal on him and forcefully annexed this island and returned it to Yulinkong. Old Man Tianqi did not dare to resist. The 6-winged clan remained silent. Some of them began to search for Ning Fan's appearance to avoid offending him when they meet him in the internal endless sea in the future. There were even people who were secretly speculating about the origins of the 3 puppets. There was a rumor that Ning Fan had become a revered elder after joining the Great Heaven Palace and gained Yun Tianjue's recognition. The 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets were naturally related to Yun Tianjue. All of them thought that he was the one who gave them to Ning Fan. In this way, no one doubted the puppet's origins. When they thought of the spiritual puppet that Yun Tianjue had given Ning Fan, even the hidden experts of the Zhou clan would not be willing to provoke Ning Fan. The 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets were indeed frightening. Yun Tianjue's protection was terrifying. Unfortunately, ever since that day, Ning Fan never took out his spiritual puppets in front of anyone again. Thus, he did not expose his identity as a world beast of the puppet world. Even if it was exposed, with Yun Tianjue's cold and detached personality, no one would dare to question where the puppet came from. Most people would just assume that it was made by Yun Tianjue's realm beast of slaughter. He spent the entire day collecting spiritual herbs on Tianqi Island. Before coming to Tianqi, he was prepared to use money to buy medicine. Now that he'd subdued Tianqi, there was naturally no need for him to spend any more money. He emptied Tianqi Island's medicine storehouse and collected a lot of medicinal herbs for refining the consciousness-repairing pill. This time, when he summoned the puppet, not only did he intimidate the 6-winged clan, but he also borrowed Yun Tianjue's power. Unless they were enemies who would not rest until one of them was dead, no one would have the intention to harm him. A man and 2 women stood at the peak of Feiyue Mountain in the south of the island. He quietly waited for the moon to descend. The moonlight condensed into a moon gate. The moon gate that Yulinkong mentioned could only be used at night. At this moment, it was still the first crescent moon. He had to wait for the second crescent moon to appear before he could borrow the power of the moon to appear. The moonlight forms a door, appearing in the middle of the sky. Prajnapolo, traverse the void. Yulinkong recited an incantation and the shadows of her fingers fluttered about. Traces of moonlight twined around her soft fingers. Meanwhile, in the night sky, the shadow of a moonlight gate slowly appeared. It was extremely faint, extremely faint. It was left behind by Yulinkong back then. The moon gate technique was one of Yulinkong's trump cards. It originated from the inheritance of immortal concubine Zhang Yu. If Yulinkong was in her peak condition, she could borrow the power of the moon to condense a door and directly open the door to the void. Right now, she could only use the moon gate that she had formed in the past to escape. Moon awareness, moon gate technique. Your techniques are truly extraordinary. Ning Fan sighed with emotion. Yu Lingkong's divine veins are quite mysterious. Tisk, no matter how extraordinary he is, he's not as powerful as you. Little Cucumber, you troublemaker. As soon as you showed up, you killed Blackwing and even summoned 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets. Now, I'm afraid no one in the Internal Sea will dare to offend you anymore. Yu Lingkong complained in her mind. Even though she was known as a female tyrant, she did not dare to kill one of the 6 elders of the Six-Winged Clan. What's the origin of the Six-Winged Clan? Ning Fan finally asked. Do you know about the 4 clans of the Hidden Sea? Yu Lingkong hesitated for a moment. The Six-Winged Clan was a dark force of the Internal Sea. Not many people knew about its existence. I've never heard of it. The 4 clans of the Hidden Sea were the rulers of the Endless Sea before Thunder Sovereign Buzhou appeared. All of them were devil races. Devil race? If that's the case, they are somewhat similar to the Giant Devil Clan. Ning Fan said with a deep voice. The Giant Devil Clan was originally one of the 4 clans. However, it eventually submitted to the Thunder Sovereign. The other 3 clans are still being suppressed under the Sea Area 1 million zhang. Yu Lingkong knitted her brows. This was a secret. However, it seemed like there was no harm in telling Ning Fan about it. Then, she continued to say, other than the Giant Devil Clan which submitted to the Thunder Sovereign, the other 3 clans are the Six-Winged Clan, the Mist Horn Clan and the Ghost Eye Clan. The Void Refinement Realm ancestors of the Giant Devil Clan had already died in battle along with the Thunder Sovereign. The current Giant Devil Clan can't be compared to the other 3 clans. The Six-Winged Clan is the weakest among the 3 clans. It only has a Void Refinement Realm expert. The Misthorn Clan is slightly stronger. They have 3 Void Refinement Realm experts and one of them is even at the Mid-Void Refinement Realm. As for the Ghost Eye Clan, as soon as the Ghost Eye Clan was mentioned, even Yu Lingkong could not help but show a solemn expression. The Ghost Eye Clan once had a Void Fragmentation Realm expert who was once the overlord of the Endless Sea. In the end, that Void Fragmentation Realm expert was killed by the Thunder Sovereign. Even so, we must never provoke the Ghost Eye Clan. Yu Lingkong's tone was unprecedentedly solemn. Even though Ning Fan had 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets, she would not agree to him offending the Ghost Eye Clan. The Six-Winged Clan and the Misthorn Clan are fine. However, the Ghost Eye Clan is very scary. Little Cucumber, the Internal Sea isn't as simple as you think. You can cause trouble but you must never provoke the Zhou Clan or the Ghost Eye Clan. Yu Lingkong emphasized again. Are you worried about me? Ning Fan smiled faintly. However, under his smile, there was a hint of seriousness. He had never looked down on the Internal Sea. The one he looked down on was the Six-Winged Clan. Why would I be worried about you? If you didn't offend Six-Winged because of me, would I remind you? Yu Lingkong knitted her brows and did not say anything else. Ning Fan also did not tease her. He placed his palm on her shoulder and used the power of the Black Star to heal her. The moon gate condensed bit by bit. In the latter half of the night, when the moon was in its last quarter, the moon gate had completely formed. Under the bright moonlight, a door of light condensed from moonlight stood in the night sky. As long as one crossed through this door, he would be able to travel 300 million miles and head towards the next divine space island. Little Cucumber, we can leave now. Yu Lingkong shook her shoulders unnaturally, shaking off Ning Fan's hand. Then, with a tap of her foot, she was about to pass through the door and leave. However, just as she leaped into the air, Ning Fan pulled her back into his arms. Little Cucumber, don't waste any more time. Yu Lingkong's face turned serious. Wait, there's a guest. Ning Fan loosened his embrace and shielded Yu Lingkong and the female corpse behind him. Then, he stood facing the south of the mountain with his hands clasped behind his back. In that direction, 100,000 kilometers away, a silver shadow strangely escaped, its speed extremely fast. Each time it escaped, it could almost travel across 150,000 li of mountains and rivers. Just as Ning Fan's voice fell, the silver shadow had already appeared on the mountain peak. It was an elderly man in silver robes. That elderly man had an early Void Refinement Realm cultivation base. That elderly man had 6 silver wings on his back. As soon as that elderly man appeared, an extremely obscure spirit sense swept towards Ningfan. It was filled with malicious intent. It was as if he wanted to directly subdue Ningfan with his spirit sense, not giving him the chance to summon his spiritual puppets. Who are you? Ningfan's eyes turned solemn. This person's speed was far faster than mine. However, his spirit sense was just about the same as mine. It's impossible for him to sneak an attack on me with the spirit sense of an early void refinement realm cultivator. As he took a step forward, his spirit sense wrapped around his body. The elderly man felt a sharp pain and immediately withdrew his spirit sense. His eyes were filled with astonishment. Your spirit sense is really strong. I'm afraid that your spirit sense is already on par with mine. No wonder you can control 3 void refinement realm spiritual puppets at the same time. You're also extraordinary. With 6 wings, you can travel 150,000 li. If you forcefully escape by damaging yourself, I'm afraid you can even reach 300,000 li. With such speed, you must be extremely confident that even if I have 3 spiritual puppets, I won't be able to capture you, right? However, do you believe that even if I don't summon my spiritual puppets, I still have a way to keep you here? Ningfan had already guessed the identity of the elderly man after keeping Yamon Yen away. His tone changed and his baleful chi spread out. The bright moonlight was directly dyed into a blood moon by the baleful chi. Hiss! The silver-robed elderly man was inwardly shocked. He could not imagine that a Divine Transformation Realm Junior would actually have a baleful chi that was 10 times stronger than his. Judging from the intensity of this baleful chi, Ningfan had killed at least 1,000 Divine Transformation Realm cultivators. No, it's more than that. Among the baleful chi, there was one that was especially ferocious. It was the baleful chi that was left behind after killing Void Refinement Realm cultivators. At first, the elderly man harbored malicious intentions. He even wanted to sneak an attack on Ningfan. However, his attack failed and he gave up on the idea. However, after hearing Ningfan's warning and claiming that he could keep the elderly man here with his own strength, the elderly man did not believe him at all. He only thought that Ningfan was boasting. However, the baleful chi of 1,000 Divine Transformation Realm cultivators and 1 Void Refinement Realm cultivator made the silver-robed elderly man no longer doubt the authenticity of Ningfan's words. This young man is capable of killing Void Refinement Realm experts. Moreover, judging from the intensity of his baleful chi, this person did not rely on any external help to kill the Void Refinement Realm cultivators. Moreover, he killed them with a single strike. If an outsider had helped him or if the battle had lasted for a long time, it would have been impossible to leave behind such a strong murderous aura. Little friend, please calm down. I am the great elder of the 6-winged clan, Xian I. I have no ill intentions in coming here tonight. So it's Great Elder Xian. May I know why Great Elder has come here in the middle of the night? Could it be that you are here to interrogate me? Ningfan's face was expressionless, but his heart was sneering. It was not that Xian Yi did not have any malicious intent. He was just frightened by Ningfan's baleful chi. Thus, he did not dare to have any malicious intent. Since Ningfan dared to expose his spiritual puppets, he was not afraid of others finding out about it. He was also not afraid of a sneak attack from a Void Refinement Realm expert. His combat power was already strong enough to fight against a Void Refinement Realm cultivator. However, he could not win because he did not use his sovereign chi. The best he could do was to protect himself from being defeated. Little friend, you must be joking. This old man already knows everything that happened during the day. Little friend, you are not in the wrong. The one who is in the wrong is my 6-winged clan, Blackwing. Back then, when the Moon Venerable went missing, it was widely rumored that she was dead. I didn't know that she was still alive, so I boldly annexed hundreds of islands including Tianqi. This is my first mistake. Blackwing attacked without permission and hurt Venerable Moon, offending Venerable Ming's beauty. This is my second mistake. Venerated Ming had only himself to blame for killing Blackwing. Who said that I'm Little Cucumber's beauty? Yu Lingkong tried to defend herself. However, Ningfan secretly pinched her wrist and shook his head, signaling her to be quiet. Great Elder, if you have something to say, just say it. Ning Fan said indifferently. Xian Yi's cloudy eyes showed a slight struggle. Then, he gritted his teeth and cupped his fists at Ning Fan. I have 2 requests for coming here. Firstly, I hope that Venerable Ming and the Six-Winged Clan can resolve their misunderstandings. I hope that Blackwing won't vent his anger on my Six-Winged Clan for his crimes. As compensation, I will return the forces of the Divine Space Island that we annexed in the past. Secondly, I heard that Venerable Ming has yet to kill Blackwing's primordial spirit. Therefore, I boldly ask Venerable Ming to return his primordial spirit. If you can do that, I will thank Venerable Ming's magnanimity on behalf of the Six-Winged Clan. The female corpse looked at the moon indifferently as if what happened here had nothing to do with her. There was only Ning Fan in her world. Yu Ling Kong, on the other hand, was so surprised that she could not close her mouth. What did she just see? The Void Refinement Realm Great Elder of the Six-Winged Clan is apologizing to Ning Fan? Even though the Great Elder did not behave in a humble manner, it was already extremely rare for him to just ask for compensation and bow to Ning Fan. Which one of them who had attained the Void Refinement Realm was not arrogant? Being able to make a Void Refinement Realm expert bow and apologize to him was a great honor. The forces of the Six-Winged Clan that seized the Divine Space Island should be returned. It can't be considered as compensation. Blackwing's primordial spirit is useless to me. It's not impossible for me to return it, but you have to show your sincerity. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He was not a young man who had just entered the cultivation world. A Void Refinement Realm old monster bowed and apologized verbally. If he thought that he could write off everything with a stroke of the pen, he must have underestimated Ning Fan too much. If there are benefits, Ning Fan would naturally let the Six-Winged Clan go. He had a lot of things to do and he was too lazy to get entangled with the Six-Winged Clan. If there are no benefits, he would not mind annihilating the Six-Winged Clan. Xian Yi seemed to have not figured out his standpoint. Did he think that he was giving Ning Fan face by negotiating with him on equal terms? He was not on equal terms with Ning Fan. Ning Fan had the strength to annihilate the Six-Winged Clan. Xian Yi only had the right to apologize. Humph. What kind of sincerity do you want? Xian Yi's eyes turned grim. I heard from you, Heir, that there is a stone platform in the Blackwing Clan called the Revival Platform. It has a unique healing effect on injuries to the physical body and Sea of Consciousness. My wife's Sea of Consciousness is slightly injured and she wants to borrow the Revival Platform. Impossible. My clan's ancestral teaching states that the Revival Platform cannot be used by foreign races. Xian Yi refused without hesitation. What if I insist on using it? Ning Fan's tone carried a hint of threat. If you can make me take half a step back, I can lend you the Revival Platform. This is the ancestral teaching. Xian Yi's eyes turned darker. He felt that it was necessary for him to let Ning Fan know how strong he was. Even though he had tolerated Ning Fan many times, it was only because he was pressured by his clan that he had no choice but to beg for his forgiveness. He felt that he had already given Ning Fan a lot of face by bowing and apologizing to him. Ning Fan had gone too far. One move? Alright. Ning Fan touched his glabella and the Separation Slayer sword appeared in his hand. Under the moonlight, layers of sword shadows could be seen. One sword shadow turned into 10, 10 turned into 100, 100 turned into 1,000 and 1,000 turned into 10,000. Ning Fan was comprehending the profound principle of turning 1 into 10,000. A terrifying sword chi condensed on his body. Myriad sword style. Xian Yi's aura force weakened. He suddenly felt that he did not have the confidence to win against Ning Fan. What level of sword chi is this? Chapter 403. It was Ning Fan's first time using the myriad sword style ever since he comprehended it. This was a void fragmentation realm sword technique. Given his current level of the Tao of Sword, he could only comprehend 1/10 of it. Even so, this sword technique was already much stronger than ordinary mortal void sword techniques. Xian Yi's eyes became even deeper. Even with his eyesight, He actually could not see through the trajectory of Ning Fan's sword shadows. In his heart, there was a strange feeling that he would lose more than he would win. No. This old man is a void refinement realm cultivator. How can I lose to a junior? Feeling proud, Xian Yi's gaze became resolute. His finger seals changed, and the 6 silver wings behind him flapped in unison, emitting strands of silver light like starlight. He gripped it with one hand, and the silver light immediately condensed into a silver longbow. With the silver bow in hand, Xian Yi stood proudly at the peak of Feiyue Mountain. He pulled back the bowstring, but had not yet drawn it. However, when the bowstring was pulled back, the surrounding starlight was drawn to the arrow, turning it into a starlight arrow. In an instant, it was as if the entire night sky began to tremble. It was as if as long as the bow was drawn, the arrow would be able to flatten the entire Tianqi Island. Being targeted by the arrow, Ning Fan felt as if his blood was about to be ignited. His eyes darkened, and he was slightly stunned. If he wasn't mistaken, this star condensation archery technique was extremely similar to the lost primordial fiend god divine ability, the star punishing bow. It was just that when Xian Yi used this technique, it was somewhat specious. In addition, Xian Yi had not comprehended the starlight technique and did not have a natal star, so he could not even display 1/1000th of the technique's power. If a true ancient fiend god used this technique, a single pull of the bow could shatter a star. One arrow could destroy a small kiliacosm. Ning Fan's eyes lit up. This technique is very good. This is the fiend god divine ability that I, the 6-winged ancestor, created, the star punishing bow. When I use this technique, it isn't even 1/1000th of my ancestor's strength. But you cannot withstand this technique. This old man advises you to quickly summon your puppets. Otherwise, you won't be able to withstand my bow. Is that so? Ning Fan took a step forward and Separation Slayer slightly drew an arc in the air. The 10,000 sword shadows around his body were all activated at this moment. It was a shallow sword arc, but it seemed to have cut through the dawn of the ancient times. The dark night seemed to have been split apart by his sword. A wave of solemn and murderous sword intent spread out from his body. All of a sudden, it engulfed 100,000 li of Tianqi Island. Countless cultivators didn't even have time to react before they were immobilized by the shocking sword intent. On this island, only the deity transformation stage Elder Tianqi could move slightly, but after sensing the terrifying sword intent in the outside world, he didn't even have the courage to go out and take a look. At this moment, his white robes fluttered in the wind as he stood proudly at the peak of Feiyue Mountain. His black hair danced in the wind like a devil. When Yun Tianjue displayed this sword move, the sword light was like a dragon or a cloud. However, when Ning Fan used it, it became a little terrifying. The blood moon, which had been dyed red by the baleful aura, was suddenly covered by countless pitch-black clouds. If one were to take a closer look, one would discover that the black color was not cloud chi at all. Instead, it was sword chi. The wondrous principle of turning one sword shadow into 10,000 was not just about splitting one sword shadow into 10,000. On top of the 10,000 daos, it could still be further divided. For example, Yun Tianjue had used the foundation of 10,000 sword shadows to turn one sword shadow into 10,000, creating 100 million sword shadows. In theory, as long as one has enough magic power, the 100 million sword shadows could still be divided infinitely. This myriad sword style was almost limitless. Ning Fan had only comprehended 1/10 of this sword move. He could not divide 100 million sword shadows, but he managed to create 10 million sword shadows. The black clouds that covered the blood moon were the sword shadows that were separated from the blood moon. As he raised his sword, the dark clouds in the sky turned into countless sword lights that danced like black dragons. Myriad sword style. Sword light flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. When he raised his sword, 10 million sword shadows fell from the sky like a downpour, instantly drowning Xian Yi. An extremely dangerous sense of crisis instantly engulfed Xian Yi's entire body. While he was still in a daze, he drew his bow without hesitation and shot out a ray of starlight arrow. He had almost used all of his magic power. When the silver bow was drawn, the hollow space within 100,000 li shattered without any warning. The Feiyue mountain collapsed. Half of Tianqi Island sank into the deep ocean. Countless cultivators exclaimed in shock. They were just affected by the shockwaves, but none of them were killed or injured. Even so, cries of terror resounded across the entire island. Who is it? Who is the one who shot the arrow? Who is the one who sank half of the island with just a single arrow? I don't know. Under the cover of the 10 million sword lights, no one could use their spirit sense to spy on the battle at all. The Feiyue mountain collapsed. Ning Fan protected the two ladies and was directly sucked into the hollow space along with the shockwaves. Facing the incoming arrow light, even Ning Fan felt a hint of danger. Xian Yi had only used 1/1000th of the power of this technique, but it was already so terrifying. If it is really an ancient fiend god who uses this technique, it would not be rare for him to destroy the rain world with a single arrow. However, since this technique was used by Xian Yi, it was still not enough to defeat Ning Fan. The 10 million black swords and a ray of starlight clashed against each other in the hollow space. The sword shadows crumbled one after another. The traces of starlight began to disappear. Xian Yi's eyes were filled with surprise. He had drawn his bow with all his might, but none of his arrows were successful. It was as if they were on par. As Ning Fan turned his sword intent deepened. His immortal trapping sword intent swept across the hollow space. The power of the 10 million sword shadows instantly multiplied and engulfed the starlight arrow. Boom! The 9 million sword shadows crumbled and the starlight arrow was crushed. The shockwaves shook heaven and earth. The remaining 1 million sword shadows suddenly flew towards Xian Yi. Xian Yi's expression changed greatly. His full force attack was actually slightly weaker than Ning Fan's. Puff! The 1 million sword shadows arrived at his body too quickly. Even with Xian Yi's speed, he could not avoid this attack in his exhausted state. Even with the strength of his void refinement realm devil body, he was actually injured by the 1 million sword shadows in an instant, causing him to cough out blood incessantly. The silver light on his 6 silver wings dimmed. There were even traces of damage on his body. His robes were tattered like a beggar's and blood was flowing out non-stop. He looked at Ning Fan in shock. The destructive power of that single sword attack was too terrifying. Xian Yi had a ridiculous feeling. If Ning Fan breaks through to the void refinement realm and fights against him on equal footing, he would only need a single sword attack to take his life. Even though this young man has yet to break through to the void refinement realm, it would not be difficult for him to fight Xian Yi to a draw with his sword. In fact, he might even be slightly stronger than Xian Yi. This young man is very strong. You've lost. Ning Fan kept his sword and stood upright. His other hand was still blocking the wind of the void for the two ladies. The power that lingered around his fingertip was the power of the void. Xian Yi's eyes flashed with surprise. To be able to control the power of the void, one must at least be a void inquiry stage cultivator. I, Xian Yi, am just a void glimpse stage cultivator. Could it be that Ning Fan has actually succeeded in breaking through to the void inquiry stage? Does this mean that Ning Fan managed to defeat Xian Yi in a single sword attack when he was distracted by the two ladies? If he did not take care of the two ladies, even though that sword attack of his would not be able to kill Xian Yi, it would at least cause him more than just some minor injuries. At least, it could cut off one of Xian Yi's arms and one of his wings. Lost. Xian Yi's face was filled with disappointment. The arrogance he had when facing Ning Fan in the beginning had completely vanished. He had already used his strongest technique, but he still lost to the myriad sword style. According to their agreement, he must give Ning Fan the right to use the revival platform. Fellow Taoist can use the revival platform. However, you must wait for 1 year. 1 year? That's not what you said just now. Ning Fan frowned, feeling slightly displeased. Fellow Taoist, please don't misunderstand me. The activation of the revival platform requires a lot of preparations. Sacrificial rituals and formations are indispensable. In the past, this platform would only be used when the experts of the clan are severely injured. Even if fellow Taoists didn't win against me, after I bring back He Yi's primordial spirit, I still need to prepare for 1 year before I can borrow the power of the revival platform to reshape his body and heal his injuries. Xian Yi hurriedly explained, afraid that Ning Fan would misunderstand him. At this moment, he already understood that the Six-Winged Clan did not have the right to negotiate with Ning Fan at all. Ning Fan's strength was already comparable to an ordinary Void Refinement Realm expert. His techniques were even more shocking. If he summons 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets, it would not be difficult for him to eliminate the Six-Winged Clan. The current Xian Yi did not want to offend Ning Fan anymore. Since the revival platform needs 1 year to prepare, it's not impossible for me to go to the Six-Winged Clan 1 year later. However, if I do that, fellow Taoist Xian Yi will owe me a little. Besides, you destroyed my Tianqi Peninsula with a single arrow. You certainly need to compensate me. Compensate? As long as fellow Taoist's request is reasonable, I will agree to it. Xian Yi smiled apologetically. He was no longer as arrogant as before. He did not have any objections to Ning Fan's request. What a joke! He had even lent the revival platform, the most important treasure of the Six-Winged Clan, to Ning Fan for his use. What other compensation would be worth? I want the star-punishing archery technique. Ning Fan's words shocked Xian Yi once again. Xian Yi was dumbfounded. It had never crossed his mind that Ning Fan wanted the ancestral secret technique of the Six-Winged Clan again. Xian Yi was in a dilemma again. Fellow Taoist, are you unwilling? Ning Fan's tone became slightly cold. No. There's no harm in letting fellow Taoist have a look at this technique. However, fellow Taoist must swear. Before Xian Yi could finish his words, he was interrupted by Ning Fan. I don't have the habit of swearing. Ning Fan did not need to give Xian Yi any concessions at all. He wanted the revival platform and the star-punishing archery technique. If Xian Yi refuses to give it to him, he would directly kill his way into the Six-Winged Clan and annihilate this devil clan. He should be domineering because he was stronger than the Six-Winged Clan. If it wasn't because he had 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets and his combat strength that was comparable to a Void Refinement Realm expert, the Six-Winged Clan would probably send out all of their experts to kill him. Why would they negotiate with him? What should I do when the world vilifies me, bullies me, humiliates me, and laughs at me? You only need to vilify them, bully them, humiliate them, and laugh at them. Why do you need to endure them? Xian Yi let out a long sigh. He could not afford to offend Ning Fan. Thus, he could only endure it. Fortunately, the star-punishing archery technique was obscure and difficult to understand. The conditions to cultivate it were even harsher. Not only did he need to condense his devil veins, he also needed to comprehend the star technique. If not, the destructive power of this technique would only be equivalent to a mortal void realm magic technique. If he condenses his natal star, its destructive power would be extraordinary. As long as Xian Yi condenses half of his natal star, he would not lose to Ning Fan. However, it was obvious that with his innate potential, he might not be able to comprehend the star technique even if he becomes an immortal. Fellow Taoist, you must treat this technique well. This is a jade slip that was personally imprinted by the ancestor of my clan. Fellow Taoist can have a look at it. However, after you comprehend this technique in the future, please return this jade slip to me. Sure. Ning Fan nodded his head. Since Xian Yi's request was not excessive, he would not reject him. He patted his storage pouch and took out a sealed primordial spirit. It was none other than He Yi. After removing the seal, he tossed it to Xian Yi. Without saying a word, he turned around and left with the 2 ladies. He would return to the Six-Winged Clan 1 year later. Not now. After the seal on He Yi was removed, his primordial spirit gradually regained consciousness. In a daze, he saw the appearance of the Great Elder and then saw Ning Fan's back. He was still in a daze and shouted angrily. Great Elder! You've come to save me. Kill him. He's the one who destroyed my physical body. Shut up. After returning to the clan this time, you are not allowed to take a single step out of my clan for the next 1,000 years. Otherwise, I will personally kill you. Xian Yi's roar directly stunned He Yi. What a joke. I, Xian Yi, am not willing to provoke Ning Fan ever again in my entire life. If He Yi causes any more trouble and provokes Ning Fan, Xian Yi would be the first one to kill him. After being roared at, He Yi gradually regained his consciousness. Only then did he notice that the great elder was in a rather sorry state with many injuries on his body. As for Ning Fan, who was far away, he was not injured at all. Besides, the attack that the great elder suffered was not from the attacks of the spiritual puppets but from a sword. The chi of Ning Fan's sword intent was still lingering in the sword wound. Immediately, a wave of shock and fear swept through He Yi's entire body. Could it be that the great elder fought against Zhou Ming? Could it be that he lost to Zhou Ming? How is this possible? The great elder is the strongest expert of our six-winged clan. He Yi, who had regained his consciousness, was terrified of Ning Fan. And Ning Fan, the female corpse, and Yu Lingkong flew out of the hollow space and returned to Tianqi Island. Looking at the miserable state of the island, none of them were moved. There were no casualties on Tianqi Island. It was just the destruction of the peninsula. There was nothing to be surprised about. Moreover, Ning Fan did not even bother to explain to them what happened just now. None of them saw that the one who fought against Ning Fan was the great elder of the six-winged clan. The moon portal had already condensed. Without any hesitation, the three of them stepped into the portal. As soon as the moonlight dispersed, the three of them disappeared on the spot. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, they appeared on an island that was 300 million li away. This island was once a force of the Divine Space Island, and it was currently being sealed. However, the lord of this island had learned his lesson. When Yu Lingkong crushed the grand formation of the island with a palm strike, almost no one dared to resist. Everyone knew that the newcomers were venerated Ming and venerated Moon. Putting aside Yu Lingkong, whose cultivation base had fallen, Ning Fan was a person who absolutely could not be provoked. A day ago, this island was still attached to a second-rate force. However, after the news of the battle on Tianqi Island spread, that second-rate force directly gave up all of their territories on this island. They even prepared lavish gifts and were prepared to apologize to the Divine Space Island at any time. All of these lavish gifts naturally went into Ning Fan's pocket. As for the spiritual herbs on the island, Ning Fan emptied them once again. The last quarter of the moon had already passed. The next time the moon portal opens, it would be another night. In that case, they would probably need a month to travel across 300 million li in one night. Moreover, the route was not a straight line and it was full of twists and turns. Compared to flying on his own, it would save him a lot of time. Besides, other than the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, Ning Fan could spend the rest of the time on his own matters. Pill concoction, and pill concoction. The spiritual herbs stored on the two islands were enough to concoct a few consciousness-repairing pills. With the help of the speed of pill concoction in the profound Yin world, which was 100 times faster, Ning Fan concocted many fifth revolution pills like the divine injury pill and the spirit solidifying pill. After feeding the consciousness-repairing pill to the female corpse, Ning Fan felt even more gratified when he saw that her sea of consciousness became slightly better. After giving some spirit-solidifying pills to Luo Yu, Ning Fan could only sigh when he saw that she still had not woken up. If you wake up, why would I be afraid of the Ghost Eye clan anymore? I can do whatever I want in the internal sea. He gently stroked Luo Yu's sleeping face and left with a sigh. After he left, Luo Yu slowly opened her eyes. She no longer pretended to be asleep. Her eyes flashed with complicated emotions and a hint of nervousness. The Ghost Eye clan? Is he in trouble? Should I tell him that I've woken up and help him solve the problem? I think I shouldn't. If he's in danger, I will naturally know. When he's really in trouble, I will show myself. Now, it's still too awkward. 1 month passed by in a hurry. Ning Fan's group arrived at more than 30 islands in succession. After tomorrow, they would arrive at the Divine Space Sea domain after passing through the last moon portal. During this 1 month, Ning Fan had concocted more than 100 consciousness-repairing pills and fed them to the female corpse, helping her to recover her late divine transformation realm strength. His pill refinement mastery was also improving quietly. He was only a step away from attaining the high-grade 5th Revolution pill refinement realm. Perhaps, after the battle in the Divine Space Sea, he would be able to achieve a breakthrough after concocting some pills. He did not continue concocting pills. Instead, he adjusted his magic power and adjusted his chi to its peak. There was a Void Refinement Realm cultivator on the Divine Space Island. That Void Refinement Realm cultivator was Yu Lingkong's second primordial spirit. Let's call her Little Yu Yu for now. Ning Fan did not dare to underestimate Little Yu Yu at all. Ning Fan had already witnessed how mysterious and powerful Yu Lingkong's moon burial inheritance was. As Yu Lingkong's second primordial spirit, she might not necessarily lose even if she fights against 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets alone. Besides, that second primordial spirit was probably also proficient in the moon portal technique. If she manages to slip away, she would become a great enemy. This battle was rather dangerous. He must not underestimate his enemy. Ning Fan took out a jade slip. It was the one he obtained from Xian. During this 1 month, he continued to learn all the contents of the jade slip. Now, he could already display the star punishing bows technique. Even though his cultivation base was not as good as Xian Yi's, he had 5 natal stars in his body. The destructive power of the star punishing bow he displayed was more than a level higher than Xian Yi's. Tomorrow night would be a battle of life and death. Ning Fan did not cultivate. Instead, he casually flipped through the jade slip. All of a sudden, his brows furrowed. The latter half of the jade slip was blank, as if it had been erased by something. There seemed to be something hidden under that blank space. Ning Fan's eyes turned solemn. He felt that the blank space was somewhat familiar. It was not intentionally left blank. Instead, it was some kind of handwriting that was erased by a power similar to samsara. However, the owner of this samsara power did not seem to be proficient in the true samsara. The samsara power that he displayed seemed to be right but was actually wrong. It was not the true samsara. The concealment was too clumsy. With Ning Fan's eyes, he could vaguely see some silver handwriting under the blank space. Before tonight, other than the ancestor of the 6-winged clan who imprinted this jade slip, no one knew what was hidden in the blank space of the jade slip. However, after tonight, Ning Fan would also know about the blank records. Ning Fan's eyes moved. With a point of his finger, a trace of memory power went into the jade slip. Memory. The memory of samsara. If the handwriting was erased by the true samsara, Ning Fan would not be able to recall it with his current memory power. However, the pseudo-samsara power was not worth mentioning at all. The silver handwriting that was erased by the pseudo-samsara power slowly reappeared. As soon as he saw the handwriting, Ning Fan's eyes were filled with surprise. A moment later, his eyes were filled with joy. My 6-winged clan was once one of the servant clans of the 6 Tao. I have glimpsed a trace of the great Tao of life and death from the 6 Tao. I borrowed the power of the starry sky to manifest the vast vault of heaven and condense the bow of annihilation. When the bow is drawn, the stars fall. When the arrow is shot, a world is destroyed. The descendants of my 6-winged clan who wish to learn this technique must first comprehend the power of the starry sky. After that, they will receive this jade slip and inherit my star power. 1 word, 1 star. There were a total of 94 words in this passage. All of them were condensed from the power of the starry sky. A single word contained all the star power of a natal star. The 94 words were the inheritance of the 94 natal stars. In the 6-winged clan, this jade slip had been passed down for countless years. However, no one had ever understood the mysteries of samsara, and no one could see through the inheritance of the pseudo-samsara power. Ning Fan saw it. Tonight, he could pretend to be a member of the 6-winged clan and openly obtain the 94 natal stars that were left behind by the ancestor of the 6-winged clan. The 6-winged clan is really generous. Devour. He opened his mouth and inhaled, absorbing the 94 rays of starlight into his body. The corners of Ning Fan's lips curled into a smile. He kept the jade slip and returned to the profound Yin world. He wanted to completely refine the power of these 94 stars tonight. I wonder if I can possess 99 natal stars before tomorrow night. With 5 natal stars, I can fight against a divine transformation realm expert without dying. With 99 natal stars, even if I'm attacked by a void refinement realm expert, I'm afraid that I can heal my injuries in an instant. If I possess 99 natal stars, Ning Fan has complete confidence to fight against Yu Lingkong's second primordial spirit. At that time, Ning Fan would have an immortal body when facing early void refinement realm cultivators. Chapter 404. On the next day, 99 shooting stars suddenly appeared in the sky above the island. 99 shooting stars streaked across the clouds. It was extremely strange. Countless cultivators on the island were speculating about this strange phenomenon. Ning Fan only got out of the profound Yin world in the dead of the night. His aura was completely different from before. If one had to describe him, it would be that he now had an ethereal and mysterious aura that was as unpredictable as the starry sky. Little Cucumber, is the appearance of the stars in daytime related to you? Are you all right? If you have any problems with your body, we can go to the Divine Space Island in the future. I'll let you recuperate first. Her tone was cold, but her eyes were filled with concern. Are you worried about me? Ning Fan teased. Why would I care about you, Little Cucumber? You're so thin and small. You won't even be enough for me to eat. Is that so? Ning Fan shook his head. He did not remember that his cucumber was very small. Don't worry. The appearance of the stars in daytime is indeed related to me. However, it's not a bad thing. In fact, it's a good thing. I will help you get your second primordial spirit back. Be careful. Don't lose your chastity and die. If you die while helping me, I won't be able to forgive myself. Yu Lingkong was a little uneasy. She was not as confident as Ning Fan. The female corpse, on the other hand, always had a calm expression. With her late divine transformation realm strength and her corpse devil body, she could even put up a fight against a peak divine transformation realm expert. As her spiritual intelligence recovered, her combat experience also became richer. There would not be any safety issues during this trip. In the last quarter moon, the last moon gate opened. Yu Lingkong became even more nervous. Once they stepped through this gate, they would enter the Divine Space Sea. Without giving her the chance to hesitate, Ning Fan held the two ladies with both of his hands and entered the moon gate with a serious expression. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, the three of them appeared in a sea area with white mist. This white mist was as light as cotton and as faint as moonlight. However, it almost completely blocked the spirit sense of cultivators. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. This white mist was much more domineering than the primordial magnetic force of the Pleasure Devil Sea. Even his early void refinement realm sword sense could not spread too far in the white mist. It could only reach 200 zhang. Thus, once they enter the sea area with white mist, they would certainly get lost. If they do not know the route, ordinary cultivators would probably not be able to come out after entering. Follow me closely. This is the moon mist that I deployed in the Divine Space Sea. Unless it's a void fragmentation realm old monster, anyone's spirit sense would be severely disturbed. After Yu Lingkong finished speaking, Yu Bai's divine sense spread out to a distance of 100,000 miles. Only she, the inheritor of the burial moon divine bloodline, could use the moon thought to identify the fog. She did not like to have too much physical contact with Ning Fan. However, at this moment, she had no choice but to hold his hand to prevent him from getting lost in the moon mist. This moon mist was something she had set up when she was close to attaining the void refinement realm. At this moment, the burden of forcefully breaking through the mist with her spirit sense was not small. Seeing that her magic power was depleting rapidly, Ning Fan channeled his magic power into her small hand through their palms. Immediately, Yu Lingkong's small hands trembled uncontrollably, and she said calmly, "Conserve more of your magic power. Don't waste it on me. Later on, I still need you to bring the 3 puppets and fight against my second primordial spirit. My second primordial spirit is really powerful. Conserve more of your strength." Don't worry. I've already said that I'm not worried about you. After this incident, I will still be the supreme martial artist of the eternal endless sea. I will not follow you anymore. As for the favors I owe you, I will repay them one by one. Compensation? Ning Fan's eyelids twitched. Immortal jades, spirit herbs, cauldrons, Dao fruits, it's not enough. Ning Fan's tone was indifferent. I will compensate you with my body. Is that enough? Yu Lingkong became intrepid again. Pay with your body? Ning Fan smiled meaningfully. Yu Lingkong's body was just an 8-year-old girl. Her body was too small. How was she going to compensate him with her body? Don't worry. If you help me take back my second primordial spirit, I'll most likely be able to restore my original figure. It'll be enough for you to play with, and I'll definitely suck you dry. Yu Lingkong said confidently. The indifference in her tone made Ning Fan feel a little ashamed. His skin was really not as thick as Yu Lingkong's. However, when she thought about it carefully, Yu Lingkong seemed to treat her very specially. If she wanted to repay him with her body, then so be it. To other men, it was as if they would feel disgusted if they touched her. She wasn't open at all. After all, his feelings for Yu Lingkong were special, weren't they? Interesting. I'm looking forward to your repayment with your body. Ning Fan's lips curled into a smile. You should live well and look forward to it. My body is really hot. I guarantee that you'll be satisfied. What if I'm not satisfied? If you're not satisfied, I'll keep following you until you're satisfied. All right. It's a deal. Ning Fan's eyes became even deeper. If Yu Lingkong could not satisfy him, she would not be able to escape from his clutches. Does this little girl want to be single again? I'm afraid it'll be very difficult. While they were talking, Yu Lingkong had already brought Ning Fan to the end of the moon mist. After passing through this mist, it was the boundary of the divine space island. They could faintly sense the formation light of the mountains and rivers outside the mist. Yu Lingkong withdrew her palm and Ning Fan no longer teased her. He patted his storage pouch and took out 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets, 6 Divine Transformation Realm spiritual puppets which were at the late stage and 1 Peak Refinement Realm as well as the Black Dragon refined corpse. Other than the spiritual puppet which had been destroyed in both body and soul, Ning Fan had already repaired the remaining spiritual puppets with a large amount of immortal jade. Ning Fan took a deep look at the spiritual puppets and changed his hand seals. Devour! As soon as he uttered the word, 4 miserable shrieks resounded in the air. The 4 primordial spirits that were sealed in the spiritual puppets were forcefully refined. The aura force of the 3 spiritual puppets increased a little. You used 4 half-step Void Refinement Realm primordial spirits to increase the strength of the spiritual puppets? You're a madman. Yu Lingkong was shocked once again. When she was recuperating from her injuries, Ning Fan had already eliminated the 5 elemental revered beings and absorbed the 4 primordial spirits as nourishment for the spiritual puppets. I've been a madman since a very long time ago. Let's enter the island. Ning Fan's eyes turned serious. He took a step forward and led the 2 ladies into the mist. In front of them, a beautiful and magnificent holy land of cultivations suddenly appeared. It was like the cold moon in the middle of the night. It was exceptionally quiet and tranquil. The air was slightly cold and the seawater was covered with a thin layer of ice. A ray of moonlight formation light enveloped the entire divine space island as if it was sealing the island. From that formation light, one could vaguely tell that there was someone in the palace on the island who was using the formation to absorb the power of the moon to increase their cultivation base. Needless to say, the person who was using the power of the moon to increase her cultivation base was naturally Yu Lingkong's second primordial spirit. In other words, even though Yu Lingkong did not cultivate for the past 20+ years, her second primordial spirit had been cultivating on her behalf. Leave the second primordial spirit to me. As for the other disciples and elders, you, Wei Yang and the others will deal with them. As soon as Ning Fan finished speaking, he crushed the formation light with one of his fingers. All of a sudden, countless exclamations of shock resounded from the divine space island. None of them could understand why the formation light was destroyed. A cold and stern female voice suddenly resounded. It carried the terrifying aura force of an early void refinement realm cultivator. Who are you? You're courting death by trespassing on my divine space island. After that cold voice resounded, countless rays of moonlight scattered down from the sky and pressed down on Ning Fan. The suppressive power of the gentle moonlight was not any weaker than that of a 10,000 zhang tall mountain. Under the faint moonlight, a graceful lady who was wrapped in a light yellow veil walked out leisurely. Her appearance was peerless. She was vaguely the mature version of Yu Lingkong. However, her eyes were excessively cold. There was no trace of emotion. There was only killing intent. Long time no see, my second primordial spirit. Yu Lingkong's beautiful eyes were filled with anger. Oh, it turns out that Master has returned. Master, you're not dead yet. Then, let me send you to hell today. Suppress. With that one word spoken, the moonlight became even more ethereal, and its might immediately increased by several times. All of the moonlight shot toward Yu Lingkong. Leave this woman to me. Ning Fan took a step forward and punched with his fist. The moonlight in the sky was shattered, but his fist felt a little numb. He thought to himself that the moonlight had a very strong suppressive force. With the 3 void refinement realm spiritual puppets, the 4 of them surrounded the yellow-robed lady in an instant. This yellow-robed lady was at the early void refinement realm. Other than her, there were only 7 other divine transformation realm elders in the divine space island, and all of them were Yu Lingkong's disciples. 4 of them were at the early stage, 2 of them were at the middle stage, and 1 of them was at the late stage. Yu Lingkong, the female corpse, and the puppets could easily crush them. Yu Lingkong's gaze fell on the 7 divine transformation realm disciples, and she felt slightly sad. Among these people, some had risked their lives to save her, and some had betrayed her. But now, all 7 of them had their intelligence erased by the second primordial spirit and were refined into moon puppets. As for the other low-grade disciples, half of them had become moon immortals, and the other half barely retained their intelligence. Most of them had already perished when their second primordial divinities rebelled. Whether it was gratitude or enmity, these disciples seemed to have paid the price. Yu Lingkong originally wanted to kill all of the traitors. However, she did not want to kill too many people at this moment. She only had one enemy, and it was her second primordial spirit. Cucumber woman, show some mercy. Just knock them out. The cucumber woman that Yu Lingkong was referring to was naturally the female corpse. Oh, the female corpse answered softly. Then she took a graceful step forward and charged into the group of cultivators with Yu Lingkong and the puppets. Even though she did not understand what a cucumber woman was at all. Those who could be spared were all knocked out. Those who were really stubborn were only killed. The 2 females and the 7 puppets were at least at the late divine transformation realm. How could the disciples of the divine space island stop them? The yellow-robed lady's beautiful eyes turned cold. The huge foundation that she had painstakingly seized turned out to be so useless. It really infuriated her, and she asked coldly, "Who are you? Why are you helping her?" Ning Fan naturally did not have much to say to her. Even though the yellow-robed lady was also a void refinement realm expert, she was also fearful of Ning Fan's 3 void refinement realm spiritual puppets. Of course, she was just fearful of him. After all, she was Yu Lingkong's second primordial spirit. She had inherited her arrogant and domineering personality. Even if she had to fight against 3 of them alone, she did not think that she would lose. Moreover, since the 3 void refinement realm puppets were all spiritual puppets, all of them would become useless as long as Ning Fan, who controlled them, is eliminated. I just need one move to kill you instantly. Moon scattering technique. The yellow-robed lady waved her hand and rays of moonlight spread out from her sleeve. As the moonlight swept across, the 3 void refinement realm spiritual puppets were all blown away. The moonlight in her hand condensed and turned into a moonlight longsword. It was so sharp that it seemed to be able to cut the heavens. With a tap of her foot, she dashed towards Ning Fan with a sword that could overturn the world. Blade of scattered light. CHI.A, an ear-piercing sword hum spread out. The hollow space within 100,000 li was cut open by the yellow-robed lady. The cut was terrifyingly smooth. Seeing Ning Fan's body being cut into two by the sword, the corner of the lady's mouth curved into a cold smile. However, at the next moment, her beautiful eyes widened in shock because she realized that what she had cut was just Ning Fan's afterimage. Whoosh, behind the yellow-robed lady, a white-robed figure slowly emerged. On his back were two large purple wings that stirred up a violent gust of wind. The moment he appeared, he directly used his speed to pluck the yin chi of his finger, trying to get close to the lady and subdue her with a single finger. Demon wings that are comparable to the speed of a void refinement realm cultivator? This bewitching technique doesn't seem to be weak. The yellow-robed lady's eyebrows turned cold. She immediately understood why Ning Fan could escape from her fatal attack. Faint moonlight flashed around her body. Her speed was actually slightly faster than Ning Fan's. She easily evaded the yin plucking finger and did not give Ning Fan any chance to get close to her at all. Ning Fan's eyes turned solemn. This lady is so vigilant and her speed is so fast. I'm afraid my yin plucking finger will not be able to succeed in ambushing her. There was a bloody wound on his chest. It was caused by the lady's attack just now. Even though he was moving at his fastest speed, he was still injured by her sword. This lady's reflexes were extremely quick and her speed was extremely fast. Her attacks were as fast as lightning. She should not be underestimated. She is indeed worthy of being her second primordial spirit. If she is her true self, how powerful would she be? Beseech her. Facing the lady's beautiful appearance, Ning Fan did not show any mercy at all. He directly ordered the three puppets to attack her together. The lady and the three puppets immediately engaged in a deadly battle. Sparks flew everywhere. The moon blades collided with the puppets' bodies. Each time they collided with each other, a terrifying wave of energy that was enough to kill a nascent soul realm cultivator was produced. The yellow-robed lady was fighting the three puppets alone, but she did not seem to be at a disadvantage at all. As her beautiful eyes changed, she dispersed her moon sense. Rays of moon-white flames suddenly engulfed the three puppets. The flames exploded and the three puppets were sent flying away. Immediately, the flames turned into a cage and trapped the three puppets for a while. Moon imprisoning flames. The yellow-robed lady's killing intent was already triggered. She raised her moon sword and thrust it at Ning Fan again. What was different from before was that this time, a layer of faint moon flames floated on the blade of the sword. If Ning Fan is stabbed by the sword again, even if it only leaves an extremely small wound on his body would still be burned by the moon flames. You have quite a lot of techniques. Did you steal all of them from Yu Air? Ning Fan touched his glabella and the Separation Slayer sword appeared in his hand. His aura force suddenly changed. When he thrust his sword, the black clouds instantly turned into dragons and thousands of rays of pitch-black sword light rose in the sky. Myriad sword style. Such a powerful sword technique even surprised the yellow-robed lady. She hurriedly changed her attack into a defensive stance. She placed her moon sword across her chest and pointed at the thousands of sword shadows with her soft finger. Moon burial technique. The divine star on her glabella flickered. Within 100,000 li, countless rays of moonlight shone on Ning Fan. This time, the moonlight was no longer used to suppress him but to melt his sea of consciousness. Burying everything in the past under the moonlight. Erasing all the cultivators who were immersed in the moonlight. With Yu Lingkong's late divine transformation realm strength, she could even melt the sea of consciousness of two half-step void refinement realm experts when she used this technique. When this technique was used by her second primordial spirit, which was at the void refinement realm, its destructive power was even more terrifying. Ning Fan's expression changed. His thousands of sword lights were all melted by the moon burial technique. Fortunately, the power of the sword lights was extraordinary. They managed to neutralize the moon burial technique. The myriad sword style and the moon burial technique ended in a draw. What a powerful sword technique! However, it's not enough. The yellow-robed lady's expression changed. She had still underestimated the myriad sword style. So what if I have underestimated it? She bit the tip of her tongue and changed her hand seals. The moonlight that was destroyed by the myriad sword style suddenly condensed again. Moreover, it carried an even more powerful melting force and descended upon Ningfan's head. The moon burial technique was far from being as simple as it seemed. It still had a backup plan. Second burial. Seeing that the moonlight was unstoppable, Ningfan flapped his wings and flew towards the three spiritual puppets. He opened his mouth and inhaled, directly swallowing the moon flames on their bodies. The moon flames, which were powerful enough to trap Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets, actually could not harm Ningfan at all. The yellow-robed lady's expression turned pale with fright. She did not know that Ningfan possessed the steel of sun and moon, which was a supreme treasure that could restrain fire. After the three spiritual puppets regained their mobility, Ningfan's sword light danced in the air. Together with the three spiritual puppets, he launched 4 attacks which shattered the moonlight in the sky. Rumble, 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 rays of moonlight fragments fell like snowflakes. As the moon burial technique was broken, the yellow-robed lady felt a sharp pain in her chest. A trace of blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. The killing intent in her beautiful eyes became even stronger. After dispersing the moon sword, she wiped the trace of blood from the corner of her mouth with a gentle finger. Then, she formed a series of hand seals with her fingers and muttered an incantation. Moon Shadow Spirit Clone Technique. The moonlight enveloped her body. At the next moment, a beautiful figure split into 4 people. There were 3 illusory figures and one of them had a real body. All of the illusory figures were the spirit clones condensed from the moonlight. Each of them had the combat power of an early Void Refinement Realm expert. Spirit clones were naturally weaker than the true body. Even so, they were already strong enough to fight the Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets to a draw. Using this technique obviously put a huge burden on the yellow-robed lady. However, she no longer cared about harming herself at this moment. She had used several of her trump cards, but none of them could eliminate Ningfan. Ningfan was already enough for her to pay attention to him. As the 3 illusory figures and the 3 spiritual puppets fought against each other, the yellow-robed lady walked towards Ningfan with each step she took. Now, no one can save you anymore. Moon burial technique, second burial and third burial. Traces of moonlight that extended to 100,000 li descended once again. However, it was much scarier than any of the previous times. Even if a mid-void refinement realm being were to be attacked by such a terrifying moonlight, his or her sea of consciousness would also be greatly damaged and irreparably melted. Ningfan's mind raced. With all the techniques he had, it would be extremely difficult for him to break the third burial. The yellow-robed lady was not an ordinary void refinement realm being. Instead, she was an existence that was almost invincible among those who were at the same level as her. Ningfan had yet to attain the half-step void refinement realm, let alone the void refinement realm. Even if he displays the heaven-breaking sword finger, wind mist finger and wind snow finger, he might not necessarily be able to withstand the third burial's moon technique. He had 2 methods to deal with this woman. One was the sovereign aura, which he was not prepared to use. As for the second, starlight flashed in Ningfan's eyes. He reached out with his 5 fingers and as the ground trembled, the earth soul was pulled out from his palm and swallowed into his stomach. After extracting her soul, her cultivation base had broken through to the half-step void refinement realm. The gap between her and the yellow-robed lady had already shrunk. He pointed to the sky, and 99 pitch-black stars suddenly appeared in the moonlit night sky. The strange black starlight enveloped Ningfan's entire body. He allowed the moonlight to attack his body, but he remained unharmed. No, he wasn't unscathed. All his injuries were healed by the star power in an instant. Even if he was besieged by the moonlight, he wouldn't die. Soul extraction, astrology, and it has 99 natal black stars. The yellow-robed woman paled for the first time. With such a powerful astrology technique, Ningfan could almost ignore any early void refinement realm attacks. After all, The yellow-robed woman was just her second primordial spirit. She could not fully display the full power of the moon burial technique. Otherwise, just the power of the third burial would be enough to kill Ning Fan. Ning Fan had 99 natal stars in his body. Even though he was injured, he wouldn't die. Thus, he was already in an invincible position when fighting against this woman. What frightened her even more was that Ning Fan grabbed the starlight with one of his hands. Countless black starlight gathered in his hand and condensed into a black star bow. His other hand pulled the bowstring and the starlight condensed into an arrow. The heavens seemed to tremble in fear. At the moment when Ning Fan pulled the bowstring, the entire divine space island collapsed from the middle with a loud bang without any warning. Sea waves rolled up to the sky and the hollow space within 100,000 li suddenly shattered. The lost fiend god technique? The star-punishing bow. Impossible. How did this technique fall into your hands? She did not answer. Why do I need to answer? Ning Fan did not even look at the yellow-robed woman. His mind was only focused on drawing the bow and killing the enemy. The woman exerted all of her strength. Her 10 fingers formed hand seals and formed rays of moonlight armor to protect her chest. After that, she formed layers of moonlight walls. There were a total of 99 of them. Each of them was strong enough to withstand a full-powered attack from a half-step void refinement realm expert. Even so, the woman still could not get rid of the sense of danger she felt. She could only feel her blood boiling as Ning Fan's arrow pointed at her. Moreover, she had an intuition that even if she escaped to 1 million li away, she would still be shot by this arrow. An early void refinement realm cultivator's attack range was at most 100,000 li. However, the bow technique was different. It was a long-range attack technique. I can't escape. The only way is to resist it. Besides, the yellow-robed woman could also see that Ning Fan had nearly exhausted all of his magic power to draw the bow. As long as she can block this arrow, she could subdue Ning Fan without a fight and capture him whose magic power had been depleted. However, all of her fantasies vanished at the next moment. Ning Fan felt that all of his magic power and blood essence were being devoured by the bow. His face rapidly turned pale, but his heart became calmer and more confident. Draw the bow and the world will be destroyed. As soon as the bowstring was released, the black star arrow turned into a soul-stirring ray of light. In just an instant, it pierced through 1 million li, drawing a ray of light that stretched for 1 million li in the vast sky. The layers of walls of moonlight that were blocking the way collapsed just like that. The layers of moonlight armors were instantly shattered. The star arrow pierced through her body, nearly taking away all of her life force and magic power. Wherever the star arrow passed, the sea region of 1 million li was split open, revealing a 1 million zhang deep and 1 million li wide ravine in the sea. An arrow that could split the sea. At the next moment, the hollow space of 1 million li was completely shattered. The sky seemed like it was going to collapse and the world turned dark. The yellow-robed woman had lost all of her magic power. She fell from the sky like a kite with a broken string. Her eyes were filled with hatred. She used the last trace of her magic power to try to open the moon portal and travel through the hollow space. However, before she could form a hand seal, Ning Fan had already pointed a finger at her. Heaven's sealing technique. Countless bloodlines spread out from her delicate body, entangling her and making her unable to move. Ning Fan flapped his purple wings and appeared in front of her. Then he pointed his plucking finger at her. You've lost. He did not kill her. After all, she was Yu Lingkong's second primordial spirit. In a sense, she was another Yu Lingkong. He could not bear to kill her. It was better to let Yu Lingkong devour her on her own. Let me go. I'm a million times better than that little girl. I can satisfy you with anything you want, even if it's my body. The yellow-robed woman struggled desperately, but she could not break free from the heaven sealing technique. She begged for mercy, but Ning Fan did not show her any mercy. He could not make his plucking finger stop at all. Even if she had the most perfect body, in Ning Fan's heart, she was still not as important as Yu Lingkong, who was a little girl and could not perform dual cultivation with him. She was as beautiful as a flower and as beautiful as the moon. Not everyone was worthy enough to move Ning Fan's heart. You can never be compared to her. Then, the yellow-robed woman let out a blood-curdling scream and fainted. She was captured by Ning Fan's plucking finger. The other 3 clones of the moon shadow disappeared in an instant. In just the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, Ning Fan had already captured her second primordial spirit. His speed deeply shocked Yu Lingkong. One had to know that even though she had crushed the disciples of the Divine Space Island, she had yet to knock all of them unconscious. Every battle between Ning Fan and the yellow-robed lady was witnessed by Yu Lingkong. She reckoned that even if it is not her second primordial spirit who is fighting against Ning Fan but her early void refinement realm true body, she still would not be able to withstand a single shot from him. The power of the star-punishing Bao's arrow was rather terrifying. With 99 natal stars, Ning Fan was able to withstand the attack of an early void refinement realm being without dying. His means were a little heaven-defying. This smelly cucumber is actually so powerful. Yu Lingkong's heart relaxed. She nimbly changed her hand seals and the moonlight turned into threads that bound all the female cultivators. Recalling Ning Fan's words just now, her beautiful eyes became even more complicated. Facing the temptation of the beauty of his second primordial spirit, Ning Fan only responded with a simple sentence. "You will never be able to compare to her." Yu Lingkong helplessly discovered that her state of mind, which she had cultivated for 4,000 years, was completely disrupted by a man's words for the first time. For the first time, she felt that little cucumber was very pleasant to look at. She felt that she would never get tired of looking at him. His mind was in chaos. Chapter 405. You actually captured my second primordial spirit. Little cucumber, you're really a monster. The dark corridor was so deep that the bottom could not be seen. Yu Lingkong led Ning Fan into the secret ground of the Divine Space Island. She still found it somewhat hard to accept this fact. A single arrow that was released from the bow was able to kill a void refinement realm being. The destructive power of a single arrow was indeed somewhat world-shaking. With 99 natal black stars, he was able to transform his star power into a bow. Ning Fan's technique was really not any weaker than any early void refinement realm cultivator. The female corpse glanced at Yu Lingkong with slight dissatisfaction. In her opinion, Ning Fan was omnipotent. There was nothing strange about him winning. Ning Fan smiled in relief. This little girl is not bad. Her spiritual intelligence has recovered to the point where she can argue with others. Perhaps, after going to the Six-Winged Clan and borrowing the revival platform, the female corpse's sea of consciousness could recover faster. After his second primordial spirit was sealed, it was handed over to Yu Lingkong to handle. Only 1/3 of the female cultivators on the island were still alive. The rest of the women had already turned into moon puppets and were equivalent to the living dead. The 7 divine transformation realm cauldrons naturally had to be plucked. They had betrayed Yu Lingkong and became Yu Ying, so they were reaping the consequences of their own actions. Yu Lingkong did not feel guilty at all for letting Ning Fan pluck them. There were also 4 soul formation Dao fruits collected by Yu Lingkong in the secret zone. There were 2 types of heavenly frost chi within his second nascent divinity. The spiritual herbs and immortal jades on the island were his spoils of war. Even if Ning Fan takes all of them away, she would not mind at all. She looked at the ruins of the Divine Space Island and could only sigh. The Divine Space Island that flourished for a period of time had already inevitably declined. There were too many betrayals in this place. She thought that she could kill the traitor and restore Shun Kong's reputation. But in the end, she realized that there was nothing here that could make her yearn for it. 4,000 years of cultivation has been in vain. Little cucumber, where should I go in the future? If you lose your direction, just continue to follow me. You haven't paid me back with your body, so why must you run away? All right. Yu Lingkong nodded her head. It seemed like she was going to stay by Ning Fan's side for a very long time. At the end of the secret plane was Yu Lingkong's life savings. Even her second primordial spirit would not be able to obtain it. Ning Fan had obtained 4 Divine Transformation Realm Dao fruits in this place, but he did not feel excited at all. 4 Dao fruits were equivalent to 4,000 units of magic power. Back then, he had been running around for the Soul Formation Cauldron and the Soul Formation Dao fruit. Now, his magic power was so vigorous that eating the Soul Formation Dao fruit had little effect. Instead of consuming it, he kept it in his storage pouch, intending to give one to Su Qiuling. As for the rest, he would bring it back to his hometown for Jihe and the others to consume. The 7 spirit severing cauldrons naturally had to be plucked. Yu Lingkong was refining her second primordial spirit in the secret area while Ning Fan was dealing with the female cultivators of the Divine Space Island in the outside world. The 7 Divine Transformation Realm cultivators were all plucked clean by Ning Fan, giving him an increase of 7,000 units of magic power. He didn't touch the other female cultivators. Instead, he undid the puppet seals on all the female cultivators. After the seal was undone, the half-dead female cultivators turned into moonlight and faded away. They died and returned to the cycle of reincarnation. This was Yu Lingkong's request. She hoped that the past grudges would return to dust, dust to dust. She no longer had any attachment to the Divine Space Island. Grudges were no longer important. Let all the dead return to the cycle of reincarnation. There were only 2,000 female cultivators who were not refined into moon puppets. Ning Fan planted demon seals on each of them and made them part of the female guards of the Ning family. As for the rest, he would leave them to Bing Ling and Yu Ling. In the end, Ning Fan and the female corpse were the only ones left on the broken Divine Space Island. They stood guard outside the secret area to protect Yu Lingkong. This protection lasted for a total of 10 months. Yu Lingkong tried to devour her second primordial spirit completely and give up on her 2 primordial spirits to prevent herself from being devoured again. The 2 types of heavenly cold qi in her second primordial spirit were separated and passed to Ning Fan for him to devour. They were Shui Yu Yen, which was ranked 5th, and Lan Ling Shuang, which was ranked 7th. After devouring the 2 types of heavenly cold qi, Ning Fan's magic power increased by 2,000 units. He now possessed 8 types of heavenly cold qi. He remembered that there was still a trace of profound yin qi in the little pill devil's place. He would certainly be able to obtain it in the future. In other words, Ning Fan only needed to find 3 more types of cold qi and he would be able to gather 12 types of earth vein demonic flames. He had already refined 7 types of earth vein demonic flames. The Rain Palace still had 3 types of earth vein demonic flames. If there were no duplicates, Ning Fan would only need to find 2 more types of earth vein demonic flames and he would be able to gather 12 types of earth vein demonic flames. The power of Ning Fan's yin-yang flame was at least equivalent to a mid-7th grade immortal void flame. By using this flame to concoct pills, not only would the quality of the pills be higher, but the speed would also be much faster. During these 10 months, other than protecting Yu Lingkong, he was concocting pills. His pill refinement realm was approaching the high-grade 5th revolution. During these 10 months, Ning Fan had been concocting consciousness-repairing pills and lightning profound pills. The lightning profound pill could increase an early divine transformation realm magic power by 100 units. With Ning Fan's peak divine transformation realm cultivation base, he could only increase his magic power by 50 units after consuming it. However, he did not mind it at all. With the help of the 100 times faster pill concoction speed in the profound yin world, he crazily concocted the lightning profound pills. Since the profound yin world's cultivation speed was 100 times faster, there would definitely be a day where he would not be able to enter the profound yin world after using it for 3 days. However, 10 months of pill concoction was equivalent to 750 months of hard work for others. 10 months later, Ning Fan's success rate in concocting the lightning profound pills had reached 90%. He had concocted a total of 240 lightning profound pills. After refining all of them, his magic power increased by 8,000 units. It was nearly 4,000 units less than what he expected. The lightning profound pills were probably not far away from becoming useless. His magic power, 419,500 units. As for the consciousness-repairing pills, he had also concocted more than 100 of them. It was almost time for Yu Lingkong to come out of her seclusion. Meanwhile, Ning Fan was waiting for the breakthrough of his medicine soul. His medicine soul was already on the verge of breaking through. He could attain the high-grade 5th Revolution pill refinement realm at any time. Once he achieves the breakthrough, he would be a high-grade 5th Revolution pill refinement master, and he would be able to concoct high-grade 5th Revolution pills. Ning Fan placed the Xianwei blood gourd in the secret place. The Divine Space Island was already empty. Other than void fragmentation realm experts, no one could pass through the moon mist and enter this place. By placing the blood gourd in this place, it would take 10 years for it to turn into wine without any disturbance. It also prevented him from entering the profound Yin world frequently, which would affect the brewing of the blood wine. Ning Fan calculated carefully. His magic power was only 80,000 units away from reaching 500,000 units. He still had 3 peak void refinement realm Dao fruits with him. All of them were given to him by Wei Xian. Each of them contained 60,000 units of magic power. When he was at the late divine transformation realm, he could only absorb 1/3 of the Dao fruit's power when he devoured it. Now that his cultivation base had reached the peak divine transformation realm, he could absorb at least 2/3 of the Dao fruit's power. The remaining power of the Dao fruit was the part that Ning Fan's cultivation base could not bear. In the past, forcefully absorbing it would only result in self-harm. After condensing 99 natal stars, confidence rose in Ning Fan's heart. He was confident that he could completely absorb the power of the void refinement realm Dao fruit. He was not afraid of harming himself. With 99 natal stars protecting him, he could withstand void refinement realm attacks head-on. Why would he be afraid of the backlash from the void refinement realm Dao fruit? He still did not dare to eat the void fragmentation realm Dao fruit. As for the void refinement realm Dao fruit, it was more or less enough for him to consume it without any damage. Why don't I break through to the half-step void refinement realm in one go? In the profound Yin world, Ning Fan summoned his 99 natal stars and protected his body with starlight. After consuming the 3 void refinement realm Dao fruits one by one, the massive amount of magic power nearly caused his physical body to explode. However, under the support of the starlight, his physical body immediately calmed down just as it was about to explode. The 3 peak void refinement realm Dao fruits and 180,000 units of magic power were all refined by Ning Fan in the end. In the profound Yin world, Ning Fan suddenly stood up. His magic power broke through to 600,000 units. The aura force of his half-step void refinement realm spread out and shook heaven and earth. In the sky, tens of thousands of traces of the heavenly tribulation's silver flames descended. They were much more violent than any of the previous ones. Each of them was powerful enough to kill an early divine transformation realm expert. Ordinary half-step void refinement realm experts would not dare to face the 10,000 traces of silver flames head-on at all. They could only rely on their magic treasures to block the lightning tribulation. Ning Fan was different. He had the steel of sun and moon which could restrain all flames. Seeing several tens of thousands of silver flames descending upon him, a fervent look appeared in his eyes. He opened his mouth and swallowed, turning all of them into nourishment for the steel of sun and moon. The soul of the steel of sun and moon had already recovered to 90%. It only needed a little bit more to recondense the soul of the steel and allow it to possess the strength of a void fragmentation realm strike again. Along with the breakthrough of his cultivation base, the opportunity for his medicine soul to achieve a breakthrough had finally arrived. Ning Fan's entire body was filled with a warm feeling as if the conditions were right. The medicine qi in his body intensified. His medicine soul had already broken through to the high-grade 5th revolution. His cultivation base was at the half-step void refinement realm. Pill refinement technique, upper-grade 5th revolution. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with joy, but he did not feel proud. Since his cultivation base had already reached the half-step void refinement realm, it was definitely not easy for him to improve further. Breaking through to the void refinement realm was still a long way off in the foreseeable future. Even if the blood wine was brewed and he had sufficient magic power, Ning Fan did not know how long he would need to go into seclusion before he could succeed. When one's pill refinement reached upper grade 5, it was equally difficult to advance further. Fortunately, Ning Fan remembered that there was a medicine soul pond on the pill island. He wondered if he could break through to the peak grade 5th revolution with the power of the medicine soul pond. Everything was unknown. After slightly stabilizing his cultivation base, Ning Fan left the profound Een world. His eyes suddenly turned cold. After breaking through, the sky above the divine space island also welcomed layers of silver fire clouds. This strange phenomenon naturally meant that Yu Lingkong had already completely devoured her second primordial spirit and recovered to the void refinement realm. These fire clouds were the fire tribulation of breaking through to the void refinement realm. Its destructive power was extraordinary. Little cucumber. Block the tribulation? I have a problem. Yu Lingkong's intermittent voice came from the secret place. Before he could think about what happened to Yu Lingkong, he had already soared into the sky and stood under the 100,000 traces of silver flames. Something had happened to Yu Lingkong at this moment. She could not block the tribulation on her own. 100,000 traces of silver flames were nearly equivalent to the full force attack of a mid-void refinement realm expert. Without Ning Fan's help, Yu Lingkong would have died under this round of heavenly tribulation. Devour. Relying on the power of the steel of sun and moon, Ning Fan devoured the silver flames of the heavenly tribulation and destroyed the layers of tribulation clouds. However, he had underestimated the destructive power of the tribulation clouds. Even with the protection of the steel of sun and moon, he could not completely devour the tribulation flames. As the destructive power of the flames of the heavenly tribulation increased, the effect of the steel of sun and moon's fire suppression was decreasing. Ning Fan's eyes darkened. He waved his sleeves and summoned his 99 natal stars. The black stars illuminated the world. Standing under the tribulation flames and relying on the fire steel, his injuries were instantly healed. Even though he was in great pain, he did not care about it. 2 hours later, the fire tribulation stopped. The void refinement realm heavenly tribulation was at least 10 times stronger than Ning Fan's half-step void refinement realm tribulation. Ning Fan inwardly speculated that after advancing to the void refinement realm, the heavenly tribulation would become even more terrifying with each advancement. Before advancing to the divine transformation realm, he could still look down on the heavenly tribulation. After advancing to the void refinement realm, perhaps even Ning Fan would have to make preparations to block the heavenly tribulation. When the tribulation clouds dispersed, Ning Fan let out a sigh of relief. He looked inside his profound Een world and found that the soul of the steel of sun and moon had been completely restored. His eyes immediately burned with excitement. After exhausting the soul of the steel, he could summon the steel of sun and moon and display the strength of a void fragmentation realm attack. In this way, he would have some strength to protect himself in the hands of a void fragmentation realm old monster. However, as soon as this excitement rose, it immediately dissipated from his heart. Ning Fan descended outside the secret area. His eyes looked slightly solemn. He really wanted to know what exactly happened to Yu Lingkong that she could not even withstand the heavenly tribulation. Are you all right? All right. But a naked and beautiful figure limped out of the secret area. She was completely naked. Her black hair cascaded down her back like a waterfall. Her eyes were as bright as the moon and her skin was as pure as the moonlight. Her brows carried a hint of coldness and arrogance. Her appearance was mature, beautiful and dignified. Her breasts were plump and her waist was slender. Her hair was adorned with a crescent moon ornament. Her body was emitting an early void refinement realm aura force. Her appearance was quite similar to Yu Lingkong's virgin body. However, she was much more beautiful than her second primordial spirit. Are you heir? Ning Fan was a little uncertain. The mature and peerlessly beautiful naked lady in front of him was Yu Lingkong? Wasn't Yu Lingkong a little girl with no breasts and no buttocks? Would she be so beautiful after growing up? Little cucumber. Of course it's me. Help me up. Yu Lingkong's pretty face turned pale. She almost fell to the ground. She actually could not even stand steadily. Ning Fan caught her in the nick of time, and only then did she not fall to the ground. Sensing that Yu Lingkong's body was extremely weak, Ning Fan's eyes turned solemn and said, "What happened? Why is your body so weak?" "It's nothing serious. I have refined my second primordial spirit and recovered to the early void refinement realm. Furthermore, I managed to break through to the peak of the early void refinement realm in one go, almost reaching the mid-void refinement realm. I had a sudden urge to see if I could break through to the mid-void refinement realm in one go, but I failed." "That's all nonsense." Ning Fan's eyes darkened. The void refinement realm was not the same as the divine transformation realm or the nascent soul realm. Even if Yu Lingkong had recovered her cultivation base and even if her magic power was strong enough to break through to the next realm, she was still just a void glimpse stage cultivator after all. She had never experienced the void inquiry stage. No matter how much magic power she had, she would not be able to break through to the next level. If she forcefully breaks through to the next level, she would certainly fail. If that's not nonsense, then what is it? Void glimpse, void inquiry, void pierce, absolute void, and then void fragmentation realm. Every step must involve the comprehension of the void. None of them could be omitted. All right. I was wrong, all right? Yu Lingkong's eyes slightly evaded Ning Fan's gaze. Initially, she thought that after she regained her strength, she could be domineering and be a head taller than Ning Fan. Unexpectedly, as soon as Ning Fan got angry, she immediately showed her weakness and did not even dare to talk back to him. Strange. Yu Lingkong only felt that it was strange. This was not her style. "What's wrong with me?" I was obviously shouted at by Little Cucumber. "Why do I feel a little happy? Could it be that my brain is damaged?" Yu Lingkong's mind was in a mess. When she lowered her head, her beautiful eyes suddenly went blank. Only then did she realize that she was not wearing any clothes. All of her clothes were torn apart when her body became bigger. However, she was very calm and did not feel shy. She just grabbed Ning Fan's hand and placed it on her chest. "How is it? Are my breasts big? I didn't lie to you, right? My body is especially good. Paying you back with my body is definitely your fortune." Ning Fan was speechless. Yu Lingkong was not an ordinary woman. She could not be judged by common sense. However, he had to admit that her breasts did feel good. They were very soft and bouncy. "Do you want me to pay you back with my body? I will definitely fuck you until you want to die." Yu Lingkong was immensely pleased with herself and was eager to give it a try. "No need. You should have a good rest. After you stabilize your cultivation base, accompany me to the Six-Winged Clan." Ning Fan shook his head. He was not that lustful to the point of fooling around with a woman who could not even stand properly. Even though he had to admit that, Yu Lingkong was extremely beautiful. Chapter 406. There was only 1 month left until the agreed time with Xian. Yu Lingkong had no choice but to stay in the secret plane to recuperate from her injuries. She had failed to break through to the middle stage, so the backlash was not light. As for Ning Fan, he was not in a hurry to leave either. It was because Yu Lingkong had told him that after she recovers from her injuries, she was fully confident that she could bring him across the moon portals and reach the Six-Winged Clan in the shortest time possible. Yu Lingkong recovered her appearance and cultivation level. She seemed to have regained the confidence she had in the past. At this moment, she was confident that she could exterminate the Six-Winged Clan by herself. Yu Lingkong's second primordial spirit could already fight against 3 void refinement realm spiritual puppets at the same time. If she really killed her way into the Six-Winged Clan, Xian Yi might not be her match. The prerequisite was that she had to recover from her injuries and return to her peak condition. Yu Lingkong's naked body was sitting on a huge piece of cold jade in the Divine Space's secret ground. Her delicate body was enveloped in starlight. Ning Fan, on the other hand, controlled the power of the Black Star and sat cross-legged on his back to treat his injuries. His eyes, however, became increasingly solemn. After condensing 99 natal Black Stars, Ning Fan's star technique was so strong that even ordinary life immortal realm experts who had comprehended star techniques might not necessarily be able to match him. With this star force, injuries could be healed and essence blood could be replenished, but there were still things that couldn't be done. For example, the crack on Yu Lingkong's primordial spirit could not be sewn up using star power. But danger? Danger. The female corpse raised her white hand and stood at the side. She pointed at Yu Lingkong's primordial spirit in her dantian and reminded her. Even the female corpse could tell that Yu Lingkong's primordial spirit's situation wasn't too good, it was a bit dangerous. Ning Fan naturally noticed it as well. While he was treating Yu Lingkong's injuries, he was also scolding her with a frown. Primordial spirit fission. Yu Lingkong, I really didn't know that you were such a bold woman in the past. Do you know how dangerous it is for the primordial spirit to split apart? Little cucumber. Don't think that just because you've helped me a few times that you can order me around. Yu Lingkong subconsciously retorted. Immediately, her perky buttocks were heavily slapped by Ning Fan, causing her to cry out in pain. Immediately, a bright red palm print was left on her fair buttocks. In the midst of the pain, a trace of anger and shame spread endlessly in Yu Lingkong's heart. She was actually beaten. Moreover, he was beaten by Ning Fan. And the place he hit was her tender butt. Fuck. With Yu Lingkong's explosive temper, whoever dared to spank her, she would definitely chop that person into a human stick. If it was in the past, he would have already fought with Ning Fan to the death. This time, however, she actually did not fight back. Thinking about it carefully, it was no wonder that Ning Fan would be angry. It was extremely risky for her to devour her second primordial spirit and break through to the mid-void refinement realm without her permission. Putting aside the danger of breaking through to the mid-divine sense realm, Ning Fan would be able to cure her no matter how severe the backlash was. However, devouring a second primordial spirit was an extremely dangerous act for cultivators below the void refinement realm. However, a crack appeared on Yu Lingkong's primordial spirit. It was a sign that her primordial spirit was about to split apart. This crack wasn't an ordinary injury, and it couldn't be healed with the power of the Black Star. This was the sequela left behind when Yu Lingkong's primordial spirit fused with her second primordial spirit. The second nascent soul technique, as the name suggested, allowed a cultivator to cultivate two nascent souls within a single dantian, each independent of the other. There were pros and cons to being independent. The benefit was that the dual primordial spirit could be split into two, and it was extremely useful in battle. As for the drawbacks, Yu Lingkong was betrayed by her second primordial spirit. This was one of the drawbacks. With the experience of being betrayed by her second primordial spirit, Yu Lingkong did not try to subdue her second primordial spirit again. Instead, she directly devoured her second primordial spirit with a barbaric method and merged the two primordial spirits into one. The merging of primordial spirits was something that only peak void refinement realm cultivators of the absolute void stage could do. However, even absolute void stage cultivators could not guarantee that they would succeed. It was already extremely rare for Yu Lingkong to merge the two primordial spirits imperfectly. It was inevitable that a crack would be left between the two primordial spirits. If she doesn't get rid of this crack, she wouldn't be able to control her magic power freely. Moreover, as the crack expands, her primordial spirit would split apart in less than a month. Her cultivation base would fall back to its previous level and her primordial spirit would suffer irreversible damage. She might even die. Ning Fan's expression turned solemn. The crack in her primordial spirit was really troublesome. If Yu Lingkong couldn't be healed, she would suffer severe injuries. Ning Fan also didn't have anyone to open the moon portals and rush to the Six-Winged Clan within a month. Seeing that Ning Fan was really displeased, Yu Lingkong rubbed her buttocks and gritted her teeth. In the end, she still didn't fight back. Detestable! How dare little cucumber hit me? If it wasn't because of little cucumber's sincere concern for me, I would definitely chop off his cucumber and eat it as a salad. Forget it. I'll forgive him this time. Yu Lingkong seemed to have suffered a grievance in silence. After she finished healing her injuries, she put on her clothes. Her sleeves fluttered in the wind and the ribbons of her skirt danced in the air. Her eyes were like moons, making her look like an ancient immortal concubine or a celestial being of the moon. However, there was also a valiant aura in her demeanor. Her injuries had fully healed, but something happened to her primordial spirit. Since she could not use her magic power, she naturally couldn't open the moon portals and travel through the hollow space. Seeing that Ning Fan was still frowning, not only did Yu Lingkong not fight back, but she also seemed to have given in. Little cucumber, don't be angry anymore. Next time, I will discuss with you before I make a decision. Alright? Remember what you said. Don't do it again. Hurry up and get ready. Your primordial spirit can't be delayed any longer. I will think of a way to bring you to the Six-Winged Clan within a month and borrow the power of the revival platform to help you stitch up your primordial spirit. It shouldn't be difficult. Ning Fan said firmly. There's no need to go through so much trouble. I know a place with a kind of spiritual item that can help me stitch up my primordial spirit. Besides, that place is only 1 billion li away from the divine space sea. With your speed, it will only take you 10 days to bring me to that island. In the remaining time, after I recover to my peak, I will bring you to open the moon portals and travel through the hollow space. Reaching the Six-Winged Clan is just a matter of a blink of an eye. No one below the void fragmentation realm can catch up to the speed of my moon portals. As for the revival platform, I'll leave it to that cucumber woman. Her sea of consciousness has yet to recover and she is in a worse state than me. Yu Lingkong looked at the female corpse with a hint of pity in her eyes. After all, she had been with the female corpse for a long time and had gone through life and death together. Thus, she still had some feelings for her. Besides, Yu Lingkong was not a fool. Since she dared to devour her second primordial spirit, she naturally had a backup plan. She was confident that she could stitch up her primordial spirit without leaving any future troubles. The injury she suffered this time was just a reckless act to break through the bottleneck of the mid-nascent soul realm. Devouring her second primordial spirit was definitely part of her plan. Therefore, it was actually very unfair for her to be spanked by Ning Fan. However, she actually did not return the slap to Ning Fan. It was really not her style. Moreover, she actually admitted defeat. Something must be wrong with her brain. Which island is it? What spiritual item is there that can cure the injury of your primordial spirit? Ning Fan's furrowed brows slightly relaxed. It's the Thunder Bamboo Island, a subordinate force of the Zhou clan. On this island, there is a type of thunder bamboo. Its bamboo leaves have a special effect on nourishing one's primordial spirit according to their medicinal age. Even the cracks on my primordial spirit can be healed. Thunder bamboo, huh? Ning Fan frowned slightly, revealing a disapproving expression. He had naturally heard of the thunder bamboo before. However, he did not think that it could cure Yu Lingkong. As a matter of fact, before he entered the internal endless sea, he had already inquired about the Thunder Bamboo Island. The Thunder Bamboo was a kind of mysterious spiritual item of heaven and earth. It grew in places where tens of thousands of lightning bolts intersected with each other. After being nourished by the power of lightning for a long time, it would give birth to a spirit. The bamboo leaves produced by it had the effect of nourishing one's primordial spirit. However, the ordinary thunder bamboo was just at the silver grade. It could only nourish the primordial spirit of a divine transformation realm cultivator at most. As for Yu Lingkong's primordial spirit, it might not necessarily be able to be healed with the help of the thunder bamboo. With that thought in mind, Ning Fan did not think that going to the Thunder Bamboo Island could cure the injury of Yu Lingkong's primordial spirit. Moreover, the Thunder Bamboo Island belonged to the Zhou clan. The foundation of the Zhou clan was too deep. Even Ning Fan was quite fearful of them. A Thunder Sovereign of the Zhou clan could be on equal footing with the Rain Palace even if he dies. The third elder of the Zhou clan could make 2 Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace fearful even if he did not show himself. Ning Fan did not know about the foundation of the Ghost Eye clan, but the Zhou clan was definitely not a force he could afford to offend. If it's not necessary, he did not want to have any entanglement with the Zhou clan. If it's necessary, he could also go to the Thunder Bamboo Island once for Yu Lingkong's sake. However, The medicinal power of the silver bamboo was too weak. The silver bamboo can't cure you. After a long time, Ning Fan shook his head and said, "Who says that I'm going to use the silver bamboo to heal my injuries? I'm one of the venerated 8 of the Internal Sea. I have the right to enjoy the bamboo leaves of the golden bamboo of the Thunder Bamboo Island. Don't you know that? The venerated experts of the Internal Sea are subordinates of the Thunder Sovereign. They can receive a piece of golden bamboo's bamboo leaf every 10 years. Other than that, as long as you have enough immortal jade, you can also purchase a sufficient amount of golden leaves." Yu Lingkong's eyes were filled with pride. She was sure that Ning Fan did not know about the secret of the golden bamboo. The existence of the golden bamboo had always been kept a secret. Other than the supreme beings of the Internal Sea, only the Void Refinement Realm experts of the Zhou clan had the right to consume it. The grade of the golden bamboo was far above the silver bamboo. It could heal the primordial spirit injuries of Void Refinement Realm experts. It was really a rare treasure. She especially emphasized the word 8 to remind Ning Fan that he had made a name for himself after all. He was respected as the 8th venerated being of the Internal Sea. Besides, his reputation was also tacitly approved by the Zhou clan. Ning Fan also had the right to enjoy the golden leaves. However, it had not been 10 years since he became one of the 8 venerated beings of the Internal Sea. Thus, he could not get the golden leaves for free. Most likely, he would have to pay a price to purchase some. Golden bamboo, huh? Ning Fan nodded his head. If the Thunder Bamboo Island really has golden bamboos, he could bring Yu Lingkong there. With Ning Fan's full speed, he could reach there in 10 days. 10 days later, they arrived at Thunder Bamboo Island. As long as she obtains enough golden leaves to help Yu Lingkong recover to her peak state, she would naturally be able to open the moon portals and bring Ning Fan to the Six-Winged Clan. At that time, he could also borrow the power of the revival platform to repair the female corpse's sea of consciousness. As such, Ning Fan almost no longer had any objections about heading to the Thunder Bamboo Island. In the deepest part of the secret place where the Xianwei Bloody Gourd was kept, Ning Fan set up layers of formation techniques. Layers of formation techniques with the lowest grade being at the Divine Transformation Realm had concealed all the chi of the Bloody Gourd to prevent Void Fragmentation Realm experts from accidentally entering this place and discovering the Bloody Gourd. Other than the few Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators in the Rain World, no Void Refinement Realm cultivators could penetrate the Moon Mist and reach the Divine Space Island. As for Void Fragmentation Realm experts, they probably wouldn't come to the Divine Space Sea out of boredom. Since the profound Radiance Bloody Gourd was hidden in this place, no one would take it away. 10 years later, the blood wine would be brewed. At that time, Ning Fan could take away the blood gourd and his magic power would skyrocket. After hiding the Bloody Gourd properly, Ning Fan spread his wings and carried the female corpse and Yu Lingkong with him. Then, he turned into wisps of smoke and flew out of the Divine Space Sea. They came in a hurry and left in a miserable manner. The moonlight became even more desolate. Within the next 10 years, Ning Fan would not return to this place. As for Yu Lingkong, she would probably never return to this sad place again in her life. The female corpse was quiet while Yu Lingkong was deep in thought. The two ladies remained silent in Ning Fan's embrace. Ning Fan secretly glanced at Yu Lingkong and was inwardly surprised. This ferocious woman actually has times when she is quiet. He always felt that after helping Yu Lingkong recover her body this time, his relationship with her seemed to have changed faintly. He could not explain it clearly. If he must describe this change, it would be that Yu Lingkong became a little more obedient. It's unimaginable. 10 days passed. Ning Fan split the waves and traveled at an extremely fast speed, scaring many cultivators along the way. Outside the Thunder Bamboo Island, he stopped his movement light and put the two ladies down. Then he stood in midair. The Thunder Bamboo Island was not sealed, but the formation light was activated. The formation light was not strong. It only had the ability to sense the surroundings. However, it made the cultivators who came and went feel fearful. As for Ning Fan, he did not break the grand formation recklessly and forcefully barge into the island like he usually did. When it was time to restrain himself, he would naturally restrain himself a little. He and the two ladies descended on the Thunder Bamboo Island. As soon as they stepped on the island, more than 10 cultivators who were guarding the island immediately walked up to them. Halt your steps. The silver bamboos on the Lightning Bamboo Island have already been sold out. If you're here for the Lightning Bamboo, then please leave quickly. Strange, truly strange. Ning Fan frowned. He had just arrived on the island, and before he could even state his purpose of coming, the other party had already asked him to leave. Even though this group of cultivators of the Thunder Bamboo Island had yet to see Ning Fan's appearance clearly, they must have sensed his divine transformation realm cultivation base. However, even though they knew that Ning Fan was a divine transformation realm cultivator, they still dared to chase him away. It was rather overbearing. Besides, Ning Fan was not the only one who was expelled from the island. Many Gold Core realm cultivators, Primordial Spirit realm cultivators, and even Divine Transformation realm old monsters were asked to leave the Thunder Bamboo Island. But because the Zhou clan was powerful, no one dared to disobey. I didn't come here for the silver bamboo, but for the golden bamboo. Ning Fan stood with his hands clasped behind his back and said indifferently, "Golden bamboo." As soon as they heard Ning Fan's words, the expressions of the 10+ cultivators from the Thunder Bamboo sect changed. They carefully scrutinized Ning Fan's appearance. When they looked at Yu Lingkong again, their expressions changed drastically. 8 Venerables of the Internal Sea. Venerables Ming and Yu. Venerables Ming and Yu, please forgive us for our rudeness. As soon as the 10+ cultivators recognized Ning Fan and Yu Lingkong's identities, their faces were filled with fear. However, even though they were fearful, they still blocked Ning Fan's path and showed no intention of letting them pass. Venerables Ming and Yu, please allow me to report. Our Thunder Bamboo Island has some important matters to deal with, and we need to seal the island for a year. With Venerables Ming and Yu's identities, you naturally have the right to obtain the Golden Leaf. However, the situation is special. I implore the 2 Venerables to leave and come to the island again 1 year later. We must prepare the Golden Leaf and wait for you. Oh! Ning Fan's eyes flashed with surprise. This group of cultivators had recognized his and Yu Lingkong's identities, but they still wanted to chase them away. It seemed like the timing of his visit to the Thunder Bamboo Island was indeed a little inopportune. The reason why the Zhou clan wanted to seal the island even at the risk of offending Ning Fan was probably quite significant. However, it was really difficult for Ning Fan to wait for a year before obtaining the Golden Leaf. He could wait for a year, but Yu Lingkong could not. Without the Golden Leaf, Yu Lingkong's primordial spirit would disintegrate after another 20 days. What should I do? Yu Lingkong frowned. She longed for the Golden Leaf, but she could also see that the situation of the Thunder Bamboo Island was special. I can't enter the island and I can't barge into it openly. I'll just sneak in, Ning Fan did not explain. He turned around and was about to leave. He faintly sensed that there were 4 Void Refinement Realm spirit senses nervously locking onto him. Among them, there was even a Mid-Void Refinement Realm spirit sense. These Void Refinement Realm spirit senses were certainly the experts of the Zhou clan. Besides, they certainly knew that Ning Fan had 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets with him. They were worried that Ning Fan would get hot-headed and barge into the Thunder Bamboo Island forcefully. If that's the case, the 4 of them would certainly attack Ning Fan. Ning Fan's expression remained unchanged, as if he did not notice those Void Refinement Realm auras at all. He did not want to offend the Zhou clan openly, but he had a way to barge into the Thunder Bamboo Island privately. The Heaven-Deceiving Cloak. With this item, he could pretend to leave first. Then he would wrap up his cloak and sneak into the Thunder Bamboo Island with the 2 ladies. Who below the Void Fragmentation Realm would know that Ning Fan had been here? Seeing Ning Fan turn around and leave after being chased away, the 4 Void Refinement Realm cultivators of the Zhou clan who were hiding in the dark heaved a sigh of relief. If it's not necessary, they would not be willing to offend Ning Fan. The female corpse's eyes were still calm, but Yu Lingkong had a hint of disappointment. She had seen Ning Fan fly into a rage because of too many women. However, when it was her turn, Ning Fan behaved so calmly. If he could not enter the island, he would not enter it. He turned around and left without any hesitation. It was as if he did not care about her life or death at all in order to not offend the Zhou clan. He did not even try to argue with those cultivators of the Thunder Bamboo Island. Ridiculous. Why am I disappointed? Why should I be disappointed? The Zhou clan is so powerful. It's normal for Little Cucumber to not want to offend them. I've just slept with him once. I'm not related to him at all. What right do I have to be disappointed? She revealed a self-mocking sneer and left with Ning Fan. Her heart, however, gradually turned cold. Only when they were 1,000,000 li away from the Thunder Bamboo Island did she stop moving. All of a sudden, she said coldly, I, Yuling Kong, will always remember the favor of helping the Divine Space Island. The mountains are high and the rivers are long. We'll meet again someday. Swish that she turned around in such a calm manner. She actually wanted to part ways with Ning Fan. Ning Fan's eyes revealed a strange expression. He grabbed Yuling Kong's wrist. It was impossible for him to let her go. You want to leave? Where are you going? Where I go has nothing to do with you. Yuling Kong cursed. Why does it have nothing to do with me? I'm even going to bring you to the Thunder Bamboo Island to steal bamboo leaves. But don't you want to treat the injuries of your primordial spirit? Ning Fan was speechless. He could smell a sour smell from Yuling Kong's body. It was even more sour than aged vinegar. The more heroic a woman was, the scarier she would be when she gets jealous. Steal bamboo leaves? Little Cucumber, what are you talking about? Why can't I understand what you're saying? Yuling Kong was stunned. Before she could figure out what was going on, she saw Ning Fan summoning his black cloak with an idea. Then, he pulled her and the female corpse into his embrace and covered them with the cloak. In an instant, the three figures disappeared into thin air. This is a mysterious god concealment spiritual equipment. It was a concealment spiritual equipment that only void fragmentation realm old monsters could refine. What do you want to do? You want to go to Thunder Bamboo Island to steal bamboo leaves? You're crazy. What if the Zhou clan finds out? Yuling Kong and her companion were stunned. No, as Yuling Kong's companion, the female corpse had always been in a daze. Who would know? Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. There was still a sentence that he did not say. So what if he knew? He just didn't want to become enemies with the Zhou clan, but even if he did, he wasn't necessarily afraid. Don't worry in the future. I won't leave you in the lurch. Jealousy is not a good behavior. Ning Fan turned into a ray of traveling light that was extremely stealthy and stealthily floated back to the direction of the Thunder Bamboo Island. From a hidden place, a woman's voice could be heard, sharp and filled with disbelief. Jealous? I will be jealous. Little Cucumber, you think too highly of yourself. You're the one who's jealous. Your whole family are pickled cucumbers. After scolding him, Yuling Kong calmed down. But soon after, he began to worry. Little Cucumber was risking his life by stealing the bamboo leaves. Once he was discovered by the Void Refinement Realm experts of the Bamboo Island, he would certainly be hunted down by the 4 Void Refinement Realm experts. Currently, Yuling Kong could not use her magic power. She was not sure if Ning Fan and his 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets would be able to stop the 4 experts of the Thunder Bamboo Island if their act of stealing is exposed. It's a little dangerous. Yuling Kong was a little nervous. But for some reason she felt a little happy. At least Little Cucumber did not abandon her. He even dared to steal something from the Zhou clan for her sake. The more I look at this Little Cucumber, the more I like him. Chapter 407. Ning Fan concealed all of his chi and activated the heaven-deceiving cloak to its maximum. Then he snuck into the Thunder Bamboo Island without anyone knowing. Profound Divinity spiritual equipment was at the Void Fragmentation grade. In terms of concealment techniques alone, Ning Fan could really be considered as the #1 person below the Void Fragmentation realm in the Rain World. The cultivators of the Thunder Bamboo sect brushed past Ning Fan one after another. However, none of them knew where he was. The 4 traces of void refinement realm spirit sense scanned across the entire island like lighthouses. However, none of them could detect Ning Fan's presence. In the central zone of Thunder Bamboo Island, within 10,000 miles, it was clearly a sunny day, but it was filled with countless thunderbolts. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Within 10,000 miles, there were tens of thousands of silver thunder bamboos. The bamboo branches were empty and there weren't many silver leaves. Most of the silver leaves had already been plucked and consumed. The bamboo leaves were sparse, and there were only about 10,000 silver leaves in the 10,000 miles of bamboo forest. He might as well steal something. Ning Fan might as well steal the silver leaf. However, after searching around the bamboo forest, he was unable to find any place where golden bamboos grew. Within 10,000 miles, there was only a sea of silvery bamboo. There was not the slightest hint of golden bamboo. There are no golden bamboos on the island? Ning Fan was puzzled and asked using telepathy. I don't know. The Thunder Bamboo Island's bamboo forest has always not allowed outsiders to enter, and there is even a great formation that prevents people from prying into it. In the past, when the 7 venerables of the Internal Sea came here to ask for the golden leaves, there would always be someone plucking them on their behalf. Even I do not know where the golden bamboos grow. However, I am certain that the Thunder Bamboo Island definitely has golden bamboos. Yu Ling Kong spoke with certainty. Is that so? Ning Fan fell into deep thought. If the golden bamboo is not on the Thunder Bamboo Island, where else could it be? Or could it be that this Thunder Bamboo Island is similar to the Divine Space Island, and there's a secret abode hidden within? As soon as he thought of this, before he could start searching for the hidden cave, the female corpse under the cloak raised her slender finger and pointed at a giant bamboo in the middle of the bamboo forest. Entrance. The female corpse could tell that there was a heavenly grotto heaven hidden in this place. She even found the entrance of the heavenly grotto heaven. Ning Fan was inwardly surprised. The spiritual intelligence of the female corpse was gradually recovering. Her techniques seemed to be getting more and more powerful. At the very least, Ning Fan knew that even if he activates his Fu Li Eye, it would not be so easy for him to find the entrance of a heavenly dwelling in this vast bamboo forest. Yu Ling Kong was even more astonished. The female corpse, who had always been slow and stupid, actually had such astonishing eyesight. She could see through the hidden cave with just a glance? Ning Fan activated his Fu Li Eye and took a closer look. Sure enough, that gigantic bamboo was the entrance to a heavenly dwelling. From the entrance, one could faintly feel a trace of golden qi. There must be a large number of golden bamboos growing inside. Not bad. Whale Yang has improved. You're getting stronger and stronger. Ning Fan stroked the black hair of the female corpse and praised her generously. After receiving Ning Fan's praise, the female corpse's eyes lit up. She opened her small mouth and bit Ning Fan's arm. Her sharp teeth left 2 small wounds on his arm. Her face was slightly red, but she wasn't shy. Corpse demons were not shy and did not have any physiological reactions. Rumor had it that when corpse demons blushed, it was usually because their stomachs were empty. Corpse demons would usually eat people they liked in one bite. The female corpse liked Ning Fan, and that was why she wanted to eat him. Even though she faintly understood that Ning Fan was very important to her and she could not eat him. At most, she could only bite him once. After being bitten by the female corpse, Ning Fan did not know whether to laugh or cry. The way corpse demons expressed their feelings was really unique. The small wounds were not a problem at all. They were instantly healed by the power of the Black Star. Some corpse poison was also not a problem. Ning Fan had also cultivated the corpse devil record and became a corpse devil. Why would he be afraid of corpse poison? What he did not know was that the most fatal thing was the trace of blood that lingered in the air. Fortunately, there were no outsiders in this place. Moreover, he had already stopped the bleeding and dispersed the smell. Thus, he was not worried that someone would notice him. Ning Fan's eyes fell on the gigantic bamboo and he pondered carefully. Even though he had found the entrance to the heavenly dwelling, this heavenly dwelling was rather special. The method to enter seemed to be a little complicated. He could not just barge in directly. The gigantic bamboo was as thick as 3 people who would need to encircle it. It shone with dazzling silver light and lightning flashed around it. Ning Fan studied the gigantic bamboo and formed hand seals. He tried a few hand seals to open the secret place, but none of them could enter the heavenly dwelling. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. The smell of his blood had just dissipated. All of a sudden, an unexpected red shadow flashed and appeared beside the gigantic bamboo. It carried a void refinement realm aura force. That red shadow was a lady in red robes. When Ning Fan took a closer look, his face was filled with surprise. The lady's appearance was actually 70 to 80% similar to a lady whom Ning Fan knew. Ning Honghong, who lived in the demon sinister forest. However, there was still a difference between this lady and Ning Honghong. Ning Honghong was just a gold core realm ghost, while this lady was at the early void refinement realm. Even though Ning Honghong was a malicious ghost, she did not kill many people. However, this lady in red robes faintly revealed a trace of baleful qi, which actually made Ning Fan's heart tremble. Ning Fan's expression changed. This lady in red robes must have killed more people than me in her entire life. Even though this lady was just at the early void refinement realm, the sense of danger she gave Ning Fan was far above that of Yu Lingkong's second primordial spirit. Who is this lady? Could she be an expert of the Zhou clan? But who's there? Show yourself. The lady in red robes waved her hand. Her eyes seemed to be dyed with blood and her baleful qi was overwhelming. Even the female corpse, who had the body of a corpse devil, and Yu Lingkong, who had the dignity of an overlord, could not withstand the baleful qi of this lady. They were about to reveal themselves. At the critical moment, Ning Fan channeled his magic power into the bodies of the 2 ladies while he used his baleful qi to resist the baleful qi of the lady in red robes. Under the pressure of the lady's baleful qi, the 3 of them did not reveal themselves or expose their qi. Perhaps it was because she was extremely confident in her baleful qi. The lady in red robes looked around coldly and no longer tried to probe further. There should be no outsiders in this place. That trace of blood scent was probably mixed with the sea breeze. If someone is hiding in this place, even if that person is a void refinement realm expert, he or she would also be forced to reveal themselves. She had this confidence. Humph. Is it just an illusion? The lady's fingers moved rapidly and formed lightning seals. Traces of silver lightning arcs appeared on her fingertips. After forming the mysterious and repetitive hand seals, the lady walked 3 rounds around the gigantic bamboo. She looked at the time of the day and chose the direction of Chen hour. Then she took a step into the gigantic bamboo. At the next moment, she had already entered the hidden heavenly dwelling. Little cucumber, remember this hand seal. This is the way to enter the heavenly dwelling. Yu Lingkong reminded him. I already know the method. Let's wait for a while. We'll go in after this lady has gone far away. Ning Fan said cautiously. Even though he had the heaven-deceiving cloak to conceal himself, he still waited for the lady to go far away before entering the body of the bamboo in order to be safe. After about 4 hours, Ning Fan thought that the lady had already gone far away. He also formed hand seals and imitated the lady in red robes. He did not make a single lightning seal, but his hand seals were surrounded by blood-red lightning arcs. After walking 3 rounds around the gigantic bamboo, Ning Fan raised his head and looked at the time of the day. However, he did not enter the direction of Chen hour. Instead, he entered the direction of Wu hour. The direction is wrong, Yu Lingkong said with surprise. She clearly saw the lady enter the direction of Chen hour. That's right. This heavenly dwelling has a total of 3 layers of mortal void realm formations to conceal it. The first layer of formation needs to be broken with a special lightning seal. The second layer of formation needs to go around 3 times. It's a circular formation. The third layer of formation is the seasonal formation. It's considered as a type of heavenly formation which is related to astronomical phenomena. The lady entered the formation at Chen hour. Thus, she entered the direction of Chen hour. As for now, it's Wu hour. Ning Fan did not say anything else. After explaining to this point, Yu Lingkong naturally understood. Yu Lingkong's eyes were filled with amazement. Inwardly, she thought that Ning Fan's cultivation base in the Tao of Formations is a little too terrifying. He actually saw through the 3 layers of mortal void realm formations here. He's really a monster. If it wasn't for the fact that Ning Fan did not know about the special lightning seal of the first layer of formation, he would have already broken the formation and entered the hidden heavenly dwelling before the lady in red robes arrived. Let's go. Be careful. This lady is a little strong. Don't expose yourself. Once anything happens in the heavenly dwelling, I will put the 2 of you into my cauldron ring and escape on my own to ensure your safety. Of course, under normal circumstances, there won't be any unexpected changes. Ning Fan was still very confident in his heaven-deceiving cloak. Moreover, he still had the void fragmentation realm attack of the steel of sun and moon. Since his trump card was strong enough, he naturally became more courageous. He analyzed the lady in red robes. Although she was at the early void refinement realm, her strength was probably already comparable to a mid-void refinement realm expert. However, since she could not withstand the attack of the steel of sun and moon, there was no need to worry. After making up his mind, Ning Fan took a step forward and entered the heavenly dwelling of the giant bamboo in the direction of Wu Hour. Inside the heavenly dwelling of the giant bamboo, the vast sky flickered faintly. Then, everything returned to silence. Even though he had entered the heavenly dwelling, he could not force Ning Fan to reveal himself. The heaven-deceiving cloak is indeed useful. Ning Fan carefully spread out his spirit sense. After discovering that there was no trace of the lady in red robes within 100,000 li, he felt slightly relieved. Looking into the distance, this heavenly dwelling of the giant bamboo was at least tens of millions of li wide. Above the vast sky, there was a golden sea of lightning surging. On the ground, there were gigantic golden bamboos. Each of them was 10,000 zhang tall and occupied an area of a few mu. They stood upright like sharp peaks that pierced through the sky. On the golden bamboos, there were rarely any golden leaves. It seemed like they had already been plucked by someone. Within 100,000 li, there were only slightly more than 10 golden leaves left. Based on this deduction, there would at most only be a few thousand golden leaves in the area of tens of millions of li. If all the golden bamboos in this place were fully grown with bamboo leaves, there would naturally be more than a few thousand of them. A few thousand golden leaves were just a drop in the ocean when the bamboo forest was flourishing. Even so, treating Yu Lingkong's injuries with a few thousand golden leaves was more than enough. No, why would she need a few thousand golden leaves? Initially, Yu Lingkong only planned to ask for 10 golden leaves from the Thunder Bamboo Island to treat her injuries. If she obtains all of the golden leaves, she would be able to cure the injuries of her primordial spirit. As for the remaining ones, she could use them to help Luo Yu recover her cultivation base. Unfortunately, the medicinal power of these golden leaves was too strong. Refining each of them would require more than 10 types of 10,000 years old spiritual herbs to harmonize them. With the remaining 10,000 years old spiritual herbs that Ning Fan had, it would at most be enough to harmonize 100 golden leaves. Even if he wanted to help Luo Yu recover her cultivation base, he might not have the ability to do so. How many should I steal? Yu Lingkong was tempted. Her words were concise and to the point. After all, no one would find out that they were here to steal something. Thus, it would naturally be better to steal as many as possible. I'll steal all of them. Are you satisfied? Ning Fan smiled. Yes. Little cucumber, I really didn't misjudge you. Let's split it 50-50. Yu Lingkong raised both her hands in agreement. 50-50, Ning Fan was speechless. This Yu Lingkong was really demanding an exorbitant price. Stealing all of them? 50-50? How could she think of that? It's too dangerous to steal all of them. That woman might find out about it. Besides, the spiritual herbs that I have are only enough to harmonize 100 golden leaves. It's useless to take them. If you really want to steal all of them, you will still have the chance to sneak into this place in the future. As for the 50-50 split, these golden leaves are useful to me. Except for the ones that are used to treat your injuries, I want to keep the rest. Are they really useful? All right then. I'll believe you this time. I'll give you all of these golden leaves. However, you owe me a favor. You have to remember it. Ning Fan was speechless. He had helped Yu Lingkong steal the golden leaves. Why was he still the one who owed her in the end? What you owe me must be repaid with your body, Yu Lingkong added. All right. Ning Fan no longer quarreled with her. Repaying with my body? It's not a loss for me to repay her with my body, is it? While walking through the gigantic golden bamboo forest, Ning Fan repeatedly took action and obtained quite a number of golden leaves. After counting, there were already 100 of them. It was about time for him to leave. If he continues to stay here and other unforeseen events occur, it would not be worth it. However, he did not expect that a lady in red robes was also hiding in the dark. When she saw the golden leaves disappearing mysteriously, her brows finally turned cold. She had already confirmed that someone had followed her into this place. However, she was not sure of the identity of the person who came. Thus, she did not expose Ning Fan. What is the cultivation base of the person who came? This person seems to be strange. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.